Hello. Hi. I usually have this on mute, so I surprised myself when I picked it up. Hi. So, jumping back into Virche Evermore, we are currently on Sheen's route. It's been one heck of a ride so far. Like, I don't think he's bad, and he does. I've been so emotionally scarred in this game that at this point I think he's fine. I was also supposed to start my stream at 7. I apparently either slept through my alarm or it was turned off. And it says it was set because I have it for the same time every day. But I woke up because my sister got up and started doing stuff. And I'm like, that's weird. She usually doesn't get up this early. And then I looked at my phone and it was 7:30 almost. And I was like, well, let's Sheen what happens next. Yes. I'm so excited. My sister told me the other day I should have been like, well, Sheen, I'll Sheen you soon or whatever, like see you later. And I was just like, that'd been great. I didn't think that. So I was like, I could make a pun with this name for certain. But yeah, so far I don't think he's a bad guy. And I'm pretty sure it's this game has ruined me. You're still sleepy? I feel sleepy still too. I ended up waiting because everyone gets up and gets dressed and get ready. I'm like, I'll just start after they're gone. I do have a small horror story from the day before, which is a few months ago, and I mentioned this already. We had a rat come say hi to us from inside a vent in our kitchen that leads into one of our cabinets. And my sister was the one who saw it first, or heard it first. No, heard it first. I saw it first. Because she's like, hey, I keep hearing a sound in the kitchen. And sometimes the dog will go in the kitchen and bark, and I know something's going on. And I'm like, okay. And so one day she's like, that's the sound I heard. It took a while for you to go to sleep. Your nose was driving you crazy. Oh my gosh. This is that lovely time of year when my sinuses act up, and then I sleep like the dead. I usually sleep on my back. And I got into that habit because of sinuses where, like, if you know, like when you lay on one side, you can't breathe on the other side of your nose. I just started laying on my back because I usually fix that problem for me. And now I can't sleep any other way. So sometimes that doesn't fix the problem now because, I don't know, my body has changed. So if I lay on my back, sometimes I still can't breathe out of both my nostrils. Oh my gosh, it's so wild. But back to the little story before we go too far and I forget. So there's this night where there's this loud thud in the kitchen. She's like, that's the sound I hear. So I went into the kitchen, and being a lover of all things small, including rodents, I was like, yeah, that's the sound of an animal in there that is chewing things. It's definitely a rat or a mouse. And so my sister decides to open the cabinet. And this is like our junk cabinet. We put everything in this cabinet, and now all that stuff had to come out because we couldn't do it. So by junk cabinet, I mean, I don't know if you've ever bought glasses that are cute, that have like a character on it you like, but you don't want to drink out of it, so you don't want to open the box. That's where that goes. And then like all our extra rice and beans and things like that that are cooked not so frequently. So when she opens the cabinet, you can't see anything. And then a giant rat pops up, comes forward. She screams and runs out of the kitchen, and we're done. We done. So then we called our maintenance people, and they put a rat trap in there. And I don't like rat traps. I don't like hurting animals. It drives me crazy. I was just praying he would never come back. It's been 2 months. So at this point, I had assumed he's gone. He left. He's like, he got scared. He saw us face to face. We saw him face to face. Maybe he was like, you know what? Not today. My voice tried to crack. So I know. It's not the worst story, I won't lie. So then last night I'm in here because my video had broken up into multiple things, and I was going to work when I finished my stream. So I was fixing that last night, and then my son comes in and goes, the rat trap went off. And I'm like, cool. And I'm already upset. I'm instantly upset because I hate rat traps. And then he leaves and comes back and he's like, it's still alive. And I'm petrified at this point because a rat trap, killing a rat, doing its job, a rat trap going off and just catching the animal, and now the animal's in pain. I hate it. I hate it so much. So I was talking to my sister for a little bit. We were doing some stuff, and then finally I was like, I'm going to go look. I'm just going to go look and see what's going on, because we were trying to get security to come over because maintenance isn't here at that late at night. And so they said, sorry, we've never done that before. We can't do it. I'm not a fan of rats, but I feel bad. I know, right? And I understand. I literally told my sister, I was like, I would rather have a rat in our house right now than know that there's an animal and a rat and a trap right now in pain. So I finally just opened the cabinet because I didn't even know what the trap looked like because I wouldn't look at it. I didn't want to see it. So I was thinking it was one of those box traps, and I was like, I won't know how to get them out. But it wasn't. It was basically similar to like a hair clip is the best thing I can describe. And I feel like maybe it just either didn't close fast enough or it wasn't sharp, because I had a Google-less trap, by the way. Because as soon as I saw the trap, I'm like, okay, I can definitely get him out of this trap, I think. So I had to watch a video on how the trap worked just to make sure. And then I took a plate out of my cabinet because I couldn't carry it and have him dangle because that scared me. I took him outside and I freed him. And he jumped at the very last second, so it was pretty cute watching him run away. So he's fine, maybe. But in my head, he's going to be fine forever, because the last time I saw him, he was doing fine. But I was so sad last night for a good 30 minutes. I was just like, oh my gosh, I felt so terrible. Because again, it's not like I can be like, no, don't do a rat trap in our house. I don't care that we have a rat in our cabinet to our like landlord. They'd get mad at us. So I was like, fine, yeah, do the trap. But they're gonna now come in and put some more foam over it. It's basically the vent that comes down that lets the steam out of your kitchen that he was climbing in beside. And then we have a top microwave that's provided by our apartment complex, and he had to shoot through the wires on that. So we still don't have a working microwave in our kitchen because they said they're going to send us another one. It's been 2 months, and I didn't think we'd catch the animal, and I don't think I'm getting a new microwave before Christmas, which is really a pity because I love microwaves. All right, we are back in this. This is the part where our lovely lady has decided, I gotta go see Sheen. Sheen is here. I need to see him. So this is where we're at right now. Everybody else has come with us. I am now convinced that our lovely sweet angel is actually a bad guy who wants to take over the company and knows there's only one way to do it. And he has a set of radical people on his party that are willing to do anything in their power to let him have the ability to be the director. And he's being not very upfront about it, and he's being really mean. And now Sheen is in a lot of trouble, and I'm convinced he kidnapped a royal just so he could add that Sheen killed a royal using his experiments, because it's all about the picture you're painting. So he is painting a picture where Sheen is a bad guy. He let something slip that Sheen's experiments have been maybe faulty at best, and now there is a serial killer on the loose that is killing only specifically those guys. All right, we're there. Get ready. Dahat might be just the worst guy. Seeing Hugo frowned, I stated my idea. Is it okay if I stay here a little longer? My soulish self still hopes it's not him, but most likely it's him. The problem with the Tomy games is they only animate characters that are important, and they do not animate like anything else. So it makes it really easy to guess when someone's going to be the bad guy. So if they say, hey, a guy with really cool looking hair, it's most likely Dahat, because I have not seen anyone else at the Institute with really cool looking hair. But there is a chance that someone's breaking in here and doing it. I just don't think it's the case.
Huh?
Sheen's surprised voice was accompanied by everyone's startled expressions. I'm just going to stay here at the Institute with you, Sheen. I'm in love with your inability to button t-shirts correctly. That supporter might be in the other routes. But even if they are in other routes, they would still have shown them at some point. I've seen Tomy games where like you bump into the person for like 2 seconds, just like maybe a scene where they literally go, "Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh, it's fine," and then they scuttle away. They'll do that just so you know who your players are, and I haven't seen anybody but Tahat and his supporters who are already calling him the future director, and he is not stopping those claims at all. It just scares me. I have a feeling something terrible is going to happen to Sheen. So I thought maybe I could continue working for him and help keep an eye on his surroundings.
危険すぎる。いつシアンが襲われるとも限らないんだぞ。
It's too dangerous. There's no telling when Sheen is going to get hit.
珍しく同意見だな。それに、お前のような小娘なんてむしろ足手まといになる。
He's all like, yeah, I agree. But furthermore, I don't want a girl who sucks here. Strange for me to say it, but I have to agree. Having a girl like you around me will only burden me more than necessary.
悪くない案じゃないか。
But wait, that idea is not very bad. Thank you, Hugo.
なんだと?
What?
そもそもあんた、今までも命を狙われてきたんだよな。今回だって絶対狙われるはずだ。
People have been trying to get to you, so the whole time, right? Which means the same thing will probably continue to happen.
だったら、護衛はつけ
Trying
て
to
おいた
just
方がいい。
attach this. I wish it was a little bit, I don't know, wider to make this easier. It's better if you have someone watching out for you. He's right. There's no telling whether someone might try to poison your food. Also, I think Anku's route is second to last. He's most likely after Eve's route. Really? Adolf is like the true ending route? But I would assume Ease is the true ending route, honestly, since he's the one she burned. That's so interesting. Well, that's exciting to know. And then I did say that if I get through this one fast enough, because today's my day off, and there's still time, I'll probably take like a 30-minute break, eat something, come back, and then we'll continue with Ease's story, because Ease is after Sheen, which also could, I don't know. I'm trying to think of the last Atomi game I played, if the last route was the real route, because I really don't, I hope and pray that Paradigm Paradox's true route really wasn't the dark-haired guy, because he was my least favorite guy in that entire game. And I would have played him first if it would let me, but it did not. I did my best to agree with Hugo's reliable support. Seeing me jump on the opportunity, Adolf let out a huge sigh, as if he knew I wasn't changing my mind.
なら、食事とか身の回りのことはこいつに監視してもらって、その他物理的な護衛は俺たちがする。
Well, we'll have Leah monitor his meals and whatever else, and we'll provide physical security as needed.
そこが落としどころだ。
This is as much as we'll offer. He bent and offered a compromise.
今の状況なら確かにそれが最善だ。
That seems like a weird sentence. They
殺
could
された時に
put a
備えて
different
バックア
word.
ップを取った
He
としても、
relented or
その
whatever.
データごと削除されるだろうしね。
Let's say the viewers didn't enjoy his route. I'm kind of worried because Adolf still can't spell his name right. Is my least favorite. He was my least favorite too, and oddly enough, so in terms of like my ratings when I did this, I was like, I'll probably do Adolf first because I don't like him, and then I'll do Ease, and then Ease was only because that one picture I saw was literally the reason I bought this game, but he doesn't really look like the person in that picture all the time, and I really thought Lucas and Mathis were just gorgeous, and Sheen, so. And then both Lucas and Mathis disappointed me, which is not uncommon in games. So we'll see if anybody brings joy to my heart. That's fine considering the situation. Even if I back up my data, there's a chance someone will attempt to delete it entirely.
今ある命を有効に使う必要はある。
I need to use my life in the most effective way possible, but...
だが、
But?
この娘は必要ないだろ 毒味程度なら自分でもできるし、もしもの時に足手まといになる。
Dude, he doesn't want you here. He's not in love. You gotta go. She still isn't needed. I can test the food for poison, and worse, she could just get in the way. I couldn't argue against him. As the memory of being taken hostage by the hot subordinates returned to my mind, Sheen did say that he was able to fend off the assassin that attacked him before. I guess there isn't really anything I can do to help.
彼女は一緒にいた方がいいと思います。
I think it's best to have Leah by your side. Just as I was about to give up, Eves finally spoke up from behind me to push me on.
もしチアンさんの無実が晴れたとして、民衆が次に原因だと当たるのは死神と呼ばれている彼女でしょ。
If the accusations towards Sheen are cleared, the real person, people will... The next person that people will suspect will be the person they see as death.
シアンさんの身を守るのと同時に彼女の身も守れるのならいい作戦だと思いますけど。
Thank you, Ease. That's not the helpful push I was wanting. I think the idea of her being with you here works well since we can protect you and her at the same time. It wasn't an obvious attempt to persuade him. Eves was simply offering a proposal in his usual casual tone. After that, Sheen began to think deeply, like never before, and after a few seconds...
好きにしろ。
Suit yourself. That is the best compromise this guy who likes to show off his rear end can give. Oh no, his it's still there, you can see it. He nodded nonchalantly. Thank you very much. I'll do my best not to get in your way, Sheen. And I'll clean. I'll clean for days. A new day began, and Adolphe and the others began the task of working as bodyguards. There was always at least one person with Sheen, so he was never left alone. We began our rounds through the area away from where the guards were stationed to make sure that there was no suspicious activity. Of course, any obvious behavior would only attract the attention of the researchers and the royal family. Dun 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 dun. If there was something unfortunate, it was that I couldn't go back to the orphanage with everyone here to focus on guarding us. I felt bad saying it, but I decided to lie to Mother so that she wouldn't worry. I was terminated from Sheen's employment, but I need to still make money to make amends, so I'm working at Mathis's manor as his maid now. Plot twist. A few days passed as we continued our monitoring. As expected, Sheen's situation didn't improve and was in fact getting worse.
ここもダメか。
No luck. Sheen brought me to the secret laboratory that he showed me that night. He tried to gain access like before, but for some reason, the door didn't unlock. Why isn't it opening?
簡単なことだ。俺が勝手に実験できないように権限を取り上げたんだろう。
Simple. Someone revoked my rights to prevent me from conducting my experiments. I just had another thought. So, Camille, aka Jean's storyline, said he had a friend on the inside of the labs who was helping him. He is trying to recreate his lost lover, and he wants her to have love in her heart because he doesn't want her not to like him the way he liked her and she liked him before. Dahat wants to bring his mother back using reliver technology, but he doesn't want to do it unless she can be her own self, because she didn't want to be a reliver because she didn't want to not like herself. So if they are trading information based on what he is doing, then that means Dahat is getting information on how Camille is doing stuff in order to gain emotions in the thing he's creating. So basically it's information he wants. That feels icky. I feel like I did it. But also, not Camille, Dahat can do that. I think Anku's last route, the review made me confused. La Salette is both routes, so this game is too much for my brain. Oh, I mean, Anku being last makes the best sense because in the animation, like the beginning animation when it first shows stuff, it shows the 5 guys and then Anku pops up at the very end of it. Because that's why I thought he would be last route. Because, you know, you can't really go on a date with death, like, without jumping through quite a few hoops. But anyways, Dahak can easily revoke Sheen's access because he's second in command already. So all of this would make perfect sense. Sheen muttered disinterestedly that it was probably the doing of the royal family. But Sheen, you're the one who established this facility in order to fight the curse. Don't fight the cure, fight the curse, find a cure. I can't believe you're resorting to such measures just to isolate you.
だから以前にも言っただろう。この研究所では様々な思惑が交錯していると。ほら、早速お出ましだぞ。
Which is why I told you before that this place is filled with intrigue and malice. See? Here comes the intrigue. I turned around to find Dahat was walking towards us with a crowd of researchers behind him. But for some reason, Dahat, who was standing at the center, wasn't his usual jolly self.
アラートが鳴ったからどこの誰が侵入してきたのかと思いきやシアンさんもういい加減にしてくれませんか
We heard the alarm, so we came as soon as possible to see who was intruding. Sheen, will you stop
あれ
already?
だけ証拠が揃っているあなたに研究をさせるような余裕うちの研究所にはないんですよ
We can't afford to let you continue your experiments, especially now that you have proof of your
研
wrongdoing.
究がしたいんだったら実質の必要最小限の設備を使って行ってください
If you want to conduct your research, please do it with the resources you have in your own room. I'm right! Dahat, come on! I'm tired of this stuff. I'm tired. Don't betray me! I know, right? Because he was great in the other routes. Actually, this is a thought I had. Is it bad that I want to kick everyone's ass? Yeah, no, I think that's this game's intention. They're like, what can you do to, 1, make you like this character, and then 2, make you so upset that this character is, like, being tricked in some way. And they're like, the first route, they're like, I know. What if his memories aren't his own memories, and they're being inserted into his body, and he happens to be a homunculus? Perfect. Also, the person who he trusts the most, terrible. Terrible. Just terrible. But in this one, it's like, dude, we have had Dahat in so many routes, and Dahat has been just so sweet and so nice. Don't do this. Why would you do this? Sheen was blamed and looked down upon without a chance to rebuttal. The only person in the group of researchers who was actually cringing was Dahat. Dahat? He stepped forward and spoke his name. I know we're not able to fully clear his name on the accusations, but isn't it possible to at least give Sheen some leeway here? I mean, Sheen is still the director. In response to my request, Dahat responded,
すみません
I'm sorry. A quiet apology.
そういうわけなので今後は気をつけてくださいでは失礼します
Well, there you have it. So please be careful. Now if you'll excuse me. He lowered his head a bit nervously, then left with his subordinates. All I could do was watch him from behind in utter disbelief.
あいつも複雑な立場だから、ああいうしかないんだろう。
The one thing is, they're going to try and pin him for this royal, most likely being dead, and it'll make no sense in my head because clearly he's not the only one who has access to this room. You can't... Am I thinking too much like a lawyer? God, I'm very disappointed in you. I know, like, I'm so disappointed too. Because, like, in a lawyer's standpoint, how many people had access to the room? They can't say just him because clearly they revoked his access to that room. And if they can revoke his access to that room, that means they can grant anybody access to that room. So you can't tell me they're going to find a guy in there that's not supposed to be there and tell me, hey, look what he did. Because you can't. You can't even forge the documents. He might have those documents saying he could be a trial person, but at that point he agreed to it. I don't know. I'm just thinking really too much.
そもそも研究員のほとんどは俺の潔白を信じていない。
Hardly any of my researchers here believe that I'm innocent.
そんな中、ダハトが俺をかばったりしたら、組織で内部分裂が起こって崩壊するだろうな。
If Dahat defended me, the whole place will probably burn to the ground. So Dahat is in a tight situation himself. As we headed back to Sheen's room, he mentioned that it would give him time to focus without worrying about politics. I could tell he wasn't trying to put up a front and was just being honest about the situation. But I still feel weird. It feels weird to me. Sheen's way of doing things was conducting all sorts of experiments at his own pace. If something didn't feel right when I saw him unable to work on what he wanted. Okay, hang on. Let me say that again. So something didn't feel right when I saw him unable to work on what he wanted. This is what you get. At least his room's cleaner. Upon returning to his room, he quickly sat up his usual chair, in his usual chair and began to fidget with a bright screen. He freely moved about the light with the working behind. That is what it says, and I just thought I read it wrong again. He freely moved about the light, the workings behind which still were a mystery to me. His multicolored eyes gleamed a bit upon receiving the brilliance of the panel. I had seen this many times, but including Sheen, the sight was so beautiful and phantasmal.
何を見ている?
What are you looking at? You son of a bitch. Huh? Was I staring?
そこまで凝視されればさすがに気づく。書かれていることの半分も理解できないだろうに、見ていて何の意味がある?
Coffee. My one true love. You're making it too obvious. I bet you don't understand half of what's on here. So what's the reason do you have to look? It's you. Hi. I was staring right at you. I was really relieved that he didn't notice I was actually staring at him. The reason? Well, I was just thinking of how sophisticated liver technology is. I mean, even the screen of light, that system you touch looks like something from a fairy tale, Sheen.
おとぎ話か。
Oh yeah, I did check photos before I started the stream, and we have only like half of his unlocked right now. And then for Mathis, there's like 4 pictures. No, 7? Mathis, which one was it? It was Mathis or Lucas. One of them we're seeing like 7 photos, and the other one we're seeing 4 photos on. So one of them has a real intense after story that we're gonna get to. A fairy tale, I suppose that's a reasonable description coming from an illogical point of view. Is Arpachella the only country that employs this kind of technology?
今のところはそうだろうな。だが他国では時を遡るという非現実的で不可思議な研究があるらしい。
Is this another game coming out soon? Wink, 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 wink. For now, probably, but I heard of another country that's fascinating research. Oh, fascinating research. Wow, I don't know how I couldn't do that. With fascinating research about going back in time. Back in time? You mean back to the past?
ああ。漂流者が残した本は、そういった高等無形な記述も。
Indeed, there was explanations in the book left by the drifter. Ooh, okay. So we were talking about how everyone has a book, or at least I was out loud. His book was the book that helped him create Reliver technology. The one that Camille had helped him do gene splicing and make wonderful creatures. And the book that Lucas's family had taught about martial arts. Ease most likely has the book that lets you do time travel, because at the very beginning of this game, she did stab herself. It was successful. Like, she had stabbed herself successfully. And then we had that exact same scene happen, and Anku appeared instead. And Lucas brought Ease back to life. So that's probably the book that Ease has. But it still might pop up in this story too, so who knows. There was an explanation in the book left by the Drifter.
入るぞ。
I'm coming in. Adolph, how's everything? Are you finished with your rounds?
ああ、お前もな。一旦施設に戻るから、一応顔を見に来たんだが。
Again, the reason I'm not in love with this guy is he just looks so basic. I don't know. His outfit's not my favorite out of the 6 guys. I think his shirt is confusing. I do like the ribbon around his wrist, but as far as the rest of his outfit, it's just very, I don't know, standard looking. But everybody else has really cool, like lots of buckles and things. And they have, I don't know, 4 of the 6 of them have like light blonde to white hair. Just thought about that. Which honestly just looks fairy-like, and I find it fun. Everything's fine. I'm going back to the orphanage for a bit, so I just stopped by to check
お
on
前
you.
は今日も泊まり込む気か？
Sorry you stay in the night? Well, that was the plan.
ダメだと言いたいところだが、どうせ言っても聞かないんだろ。
If I could tell you no, I
ほら。
would. But I bet you wouldn't listen anyway, so here. With that, Adolphe brought out a large basket filled with varieties of ingredients. Inside were a bunch of freshly picked vegetables that he had grown in his garden. Sir, you are not her mom. No, but he's got a crush on her. I'm sure of it. Maybe. Possibly. Oh. Oh my! I can make something really good with these. Thank you, Adolphe.
その荷物、ここに置くつもりか。
Are you gonna leave that here?
そのつもりだが、何か問題あったか？少しでも目を離したら毒を盛られるかもしれねえだろ。
That was the idea. Is there a problem? If they're not within view, someone might poison them.
ならせめて邪魔にならないところに置いておけ。
Then at least put it somewhere where it won't get in my way. Sheen, your room, if I don't clean it once a day, ends up looking like a disaster. And I don't even know where you get all those books when you do it. Yeah, of course.
それじゃあ俺はクーネに戻る。何かあったらすぐにイブかヒューゴに声をかけろよ。
Anyways, I'm heading back to Cohen now. If anything happens, contact Eves or Hugo, okay? Yeah, thank you. I can make a lot of different sandwiches with these.
ああ、
Yeah.
いるか？
Lee, are you in here? Just as I was about to lift the basket up, next came Hugo through the door. Hugo, has anything happened?
実はシスターから荷物を預かっててな。これなんだが。
Actually, the sister asked me to hand you this. A pillow?
そうなんだよ。慣れた枕じゃないと安眠できないだろうからってことでさ。
Yeah, she said you wouldn't be able to get a good night's sleep without it.
寝具はちゃんと用意されているから大丈夫って言ったんだが、それでも押し付けられて。
Oh, do you lace the pillow with sleeping gas? I told her that you had all the pillows you needed, but she wouldn't take no for an answer, so I see. I'm very sorry for the trouble. It must be really stressing Mother out right now. As I took the familiar pillow, I thought about how I should apologize to her when I
預かっ
returned.
たものは確かに渡したぞ。それじゃあ、俺はこれで。
That's pretty much all I came here for, so I'm gonna get going. Okay, thank you very much, Hugo.
食材の次は寝具か。どんどん俺の部屋が侵食されていく。
Hugo, don't you ever betray us. We've got 3 routes left, so don't be evil. His route most likely is very entangled inside Ease's and maybe even Adolphe, so he's got a chance to be evil. First food, now a pillow. You are slowly encroaching upon my room. This is why he's single. He doesn't want to share the space. I'm sorry, I'll make sure none of it gets in the way with your research.
いる？
Leah, are you there? Sheen gave an obvious look of disgust upon seeing a third visitor come up in a row. I am.
どうしたの？なんだか二人とも変な顔をしているけど。
Wait, did he say, am I busy? Yeah, oh, are you there? Oh, okay. Sorry, I got a phone call and I was like, wait a second, what's happening? What's the matter? I hope I'm not intruding.
お前、表で残りの二人に会っていないか？
Did you see the other two on your way here?
いえ、特にすれ違っていないですけど、俺たち広い範囲をカバーするために別々に行動しているんで。
No one in particular. The guys are all moving on their own since there's a lot of ground to cover.
そうか。
I see. Sheen looked up at the ceiling in disbelief at the almost perfect series of coincidences. So what brings you here, Eves?
今から護衛として部屋の前にいるから挨拶しておこうと思って。あと、ちょっとした差し入れも持ってきたんだ。
I wanted to say hi since I'm going to be standing guard in front of the room. Oh, and I also brought you something. With that, Eve brought out a basket covered in a white cloth. Eve smiled and proceeded to take off the cloth to reveal the basket was stuffed with egg tarts. Holy snap. Marry this man. He brought you egg tarts. The crispy tart dough and beautifully baked cream looked absolutely delicious, but the thought of Eve's baking these himself made me and Sheen go completely pale. Oh no, I didn't think about him making them. I looked at Sheen and saw that he was keeping his distance from the egg tarts, probably more afraid of them than assassins. Oh my gosh, I totally forgot that he has the worst cooking skills. They look so delicious. Are you sure we can have all this? I asked in a trembling voice.
もちろん、護衛で疲れてるだろうから、甘いものでも食べて気分転換して。クーネで人気のお店のものなんだ。
Oh, good, he got it from Cohen. Of course, I figured something sweet would help since you two must be tired, which is why I got them at a famous bakery in Cohen. A famous bakery, which means Yeast didn't make the ones he wasn't the one who made them. Yay! On second thought, there was no way that Ease had time to bake these since he was so busy patrolling. I let out a sigh of relief as I regained my composure and accepted the basket. Thank you very much. She and I will enjoy them later.
喜んでくれてよかった。シアンさんの口にも合うといいんですけど。
Everyone just keeps dropping off stuff. That's 3. Is Lucas gonna show up now? Oh wait, and Mathis. Hugo, I keep forgetting is not a dateable character, but I feel like he should be. I'm glad to hear that. I hope you like them, Sheen.
他に困ったことはない？必要なものがあれば、また明日買ってくるよ。
Is there anything that you need? If you want, I can go and buy it for you tomorrow. I'm fine for now. Adolph and Hugo gave me a lot of things
そっ
too.
か。じゃあ俺、しばらく外にいるから、何かあったら声をかけてね。
I see. Well, I'm going to be hanging out outside, so let me know if you need anything. Yes, and you be careful, Eve. With that, Eves waved his hand as he stepped out of the room, which reminds me, I have an alarm set to go off at 9:55, so I can try and get into the waiting room for a concert for Melanie Martinez. She's going to be here next year in June, and I'm on the mailing list, so I get the early access. I don't know if I'm actually going to buy them, but we're going to see. I'm going to cross my legs weirdly. I have a blanket on my lap because I'm an old lady, but there we go. Perfect old lady style. So when that alarm goes off, I'm going to be like, because I'm going to panic. With that, Eves waved his hands as he stepped out of the room. After seeing him leave, Sheen frowned hard and stared at me, or rather glared at me. He must be angry because of the commotion.
お前、
You? Yes. As he stood stiff and braced for, and oh my gosh. As I stood stiff and braced for what was coming, Sheen got up from his chair and walked towards me. He stopped in front of me and slowly began to
あの
speak.
中に意中の男がいるのか？
Are you interested in any of them? Huh? For a moment, I couldn't understand what he was asking. Interested? Wait, did he mean... Is he asking me whether I have a romantic feeling for them? I didn't expect him to ask such a thing after the current flow of events. As I blinked my eyes in surprise, Sheen looked closer at my
で、
face.
どうなんだ？
So, what's your reply? I'm not sure how to respond, but I've never seen a doll for the others in that way before.
では、意中の男はいない。
So none of them interest you? Ooh, no. Well, actually, no, this is interesting because Mathis and Lucas's story routes are the first two story routes, and neither one of them came. So she's technically not even lying because I haven't done the other routes yet. None of them interest you. I don't believe they do.
そうか。
I see. Sheen responded nonchalantly, but I noticed that the tension of his grimace seemed to be relaxed somewhat.
では、もう一つこうが。
Then let me ask you another question. Yeah? What is it?
どうして俺の元に残ろうと思った？
Why did you decide to stay with me? Well,
特にこの状況では、お前にメリットは一切ない。
You
自
have-
分の身に危険が及ぶとは思わなかったのか？
you have nothing to gain in this particular situation by staying here. Don't you think you're putting yourself in harm's way? I told him I was worried about him, but that might not be the answer he was looking for. What could I gain from protecting Sheen? Your mother's friend? I doubt that anything would say that. What do you think, Sheen? Like, he knows. He's just a little monster. It sounded as if he wanted me to show the greed that others felt. I actually look up to you, Sheen.
憧れだと。
Look up to me. Yeah, after all, you always keep your convictions. You're the opposite of me, so I think I envy you for being so strong. Maybe I'm hoping to become someone like you through helping you with your work. Then again, that would mean that I'm trying to use you for my own gain. That said, I guess the main reason is that you ordered me to work for you, and it's an honor to be your maid, so I don't want to leave you alone. I couldn't explain exactly what led me to think in such a way. Girl, if a boy starts with, do you like them? And then he's obviously wanting to know if you like him. But then again, she's never dated. I keep forgetting. She's only 18 in a world where people die at 23. She's got so much ahead of her. I couldn't explain exactly what led me to think in such a way. The only thing I knew was my daily life with this scary looking person who saw me for who I was. I wanted that life back. Can't have it. I calmly explained my reasoning so that I could understand myself
な
too.
んだ、今度は聖女様気取りか。
Now you're acting like some kind of saint. Huh?
悲劇ぶったことを言ったかと思えば、今度は一人ぼっちで哀れな人を放っておけないときたものだ。
First, it was about helping the country, and now you're saying you can't leave me alone as if I am a pitiful
死
soul.
神、悲劇の少女、聖女様と役がコロコロ変わって忙しいな。
You have a lot of roles to fill as death, a damsel of tragedy, and now a saint. That's not my intention. I simply want to be of help, Sheen.
言っておくが、俺はお前が思っているほどかわいそうな人間じゃない。
Just so you know, I'm not the pitiful soul you think I
孤
am.
独に慣れているし、それを嫌だと思ったことはない。今の状況だって気にしていない。
I used to be alone. I never once considered it a sorry state, so my current situation doesn't bother me.
まあ、実験室が使えないのは面倒だがな。
Well, being barred from the labs is inconvenient. Sheen took a step forward, then another. He slowly pushed me to a dark corner of the room until I felt the cold wall behind me.
だから、お前の境遇と重ねて勝手に哀れむな。
So-
共感を求めるな。
How is there a dark corner in this room? Girl, I see 2 of the 4 corners. If there's only 4 more, because that room could be special. I don't see a dark one. Don't feel sorry for me by comparing my circumstances with yours.
シンプルに。
Keep it simple. He's doing the lean. It's the lean.
俺と共にいたいからと言えばいい。
Say that you want to be with me.
簡単に言えば、お前は俺に情を抱いているのだろう？
Just tell me that you have feelings for me. My cheeks went red as he whispered in my
それが
ear.
どういう種類のものなのかは一切興味がないし知る必要もない。だが、俺を相手に本音を隠したところで何になる？
I have no interest in what they may be, but what meanings is there in hiding them from me?
俺は感情を持てと強要されることは嫌いだが、他人が持つこと
That
自体は
should
否
be
定しない。
me, not her.
鬱陶しくなければ向けられることも忌避しない。
I'm glad she's finally in one of the photos. It's an intense one though. I hate being forced into emotions, but I don't forbid it in others. I will tolerate them so long as they don't inconvenience me.
特にお前のような気に入った雑用係ならな。
Especially if these emotions are coming from my personal maid. Sheen, his words made me think. Or was I trying to stay by his side despite everything happening around him? I felt as though I had no idea of why
ただ
now.
し、見返りは求めるな。俺はお前に返すような感情は絶対に持たない。
Don't expect anything in return. I have absolutely no feelings to give back to you.
無駄だからな。
It's useless. Just when I started feeling a heat inside me, his words ended up causing my heart pain. You got no feelings for now, Mr. Scarecrow. Jeez. This was the best proof that the emotions I felt for him were exactly what I thought. So I actually like Sheen as a man. I hate when they do that, like, I see you as a man. I don't know. I couldn't deny it anymore, no matter how horrible a person was, despite the fact that he was 83 years old. I couldn't keep away from him, nor did I want to. He didn't evaluate me from a bird's eye view. He looked straight at me and saw exactly who I was. I loved that beauty of his view, which was reflected in my own eyes. But even if this was how I felt towards him, it's no use. I didn't have the right to feel that way, and Sheen had no intentions of feeling anything. Very hot grandpa. Yeah, he's a pretty hot grandpa. Still, it seemed like Sheen was waiting for me to say something. I wasn't sure what he wanted me to say. Girl, you know what he wants you to say. But the problem is, he just said he has nothing to give, and you're still willing to take him. Just like you could stand in a corridor covered in blood from all the murders and still go like, I gotta go find that guy. Needing to say something, I slowly opened my mouth as my heartbeat echoed. I pressed the button. Okay. Before I could say anything, I heard footsteps approaching. The sound could be heard through the wall. Sheen clicked his tongue and turned around.
ちょっと待って。何なんですかいきなり。勝手に入らないで。
Hold on there. What the heck are you doing? You can't go in there without... He could hear Eves doing his best as the guard, but a few seconds later...
シアンブロフィアーズだな。ここ最近施した王族のリライバー化について事情を聞かせてもらおうか。
Scien Brofiise, you have been summoned by the royal family to explain what you have done with the most recent reliver process. Countless royal guard soldiers barged into the room. Even if we had guards, it would be no use with all the soldiers in this small room. We ended up being dragged out of the room. I don't think she should have been dragged, but okay, by the royal guard. We were at least not bound like criminals do to part of Eves and Hugo, who tried to keep the soldiers at bay. Why are there so many of them anyways? Oh my goodness, there was something ominous about the situation.
こんなところで共倒れになるのはごめんだぞ。
I'm not getting dragged into this mess right now.
大丈夫。木を見てみんなで脱出しよう。
Don't worry, we'll make a run for it. We'll run! They'll never find us. Go on, Koran, run. Hearing them whisper to each other, Sheen was looking at his fingers with boredom. We followed the soldiers into the joint laboratory to find. I was on the laboratory table, suffering in pain. Can I just talk with the royal family and researchers just for a whole day? Everything will be fine. It looked like he was struggling to breathe. Each time he tried to take a breath, I could hear the air passing through his throat. Wait, is that the same man who broke into the incubator? Something wasn't right. He looked relatively healthy back then, but now he was in such pain that he looked like he was about to die.
なんでこいつがここにいる？こいつのリライバーは作れないようにしてあるから、こんなところへ来ても無駄だぞ。
Why is he here? I blocked his access to the Reliver technology, so he has no business at this
死
facility.
にかけているのなら病院にでも担ぎ込むんだな。
You should take him to a hospital if he's about to die.
ふざけるな。お前が閣下をこのようにしたのだろう。
Damn you, you're the one who brought this upon His
我
Majesty.
々が聞きたいのはそんなことではない。閣下はつい先日、リライバーとして転生したばかりだ。
That's not what we want to hear.
どうしてこんなに苦しんでいる？
His Majesty became a Reliver just a few days ago, so why is he suffering like this? Huh? Become a Reliver? I gasped in surprise, seeing that the man no longer had the bruises Sheen left on his cheek.
どういうことだ？俺はこいつのリライバー化など許可していないぞ。誰がデータのブロックを解除した？
What do you mean? I never gave him permission to become a Reliver. Did someone unblock his data?
しらばっくれるな。お前の実験に付き合うのならと、閣下の転生を許可したそうじゃないか。
Stop playing with us. You told His Majesty that you would revive him if he complied with your experiments.
新たな体に乗り換えてから。
He didn't.
閣下は肺に
He
異常を
didn't.
抱
This is
えて
what's
しまったようで
stupid, right? He got handed a piece of paper and it was told by a person, hey, Sheen said you can get revived with this. Who the hell was he talking to after that? No point was Sheen actually involved with that. But ever since His Majesty obtained his new body, his lungs have started to fail. Yeah, where are the witnesses? I need witness statements and I need proof that he said this. He's literally saying he didn't do it. You can't just tell him he's wrong.
死の呪いをさらに強めたような症状にずっと悩まされているのだ。
He's been suffering all the symptoms of the curse of death. At this rate, his life is in
もう
danger.
一度閣下を転生させろ。
Revive His Majesty again this instant. Sheen didn't say a word in response to the soldier's demands. He took a step forward and shaking him in his chest and throat to assess his breathing. His cold, inorganic gaze was fixated on the man's chest. Sheen observed the man for a few seconds, then raised his head.
ち、どこのバカがあのデータを勝手に使った？
Some idiot used the data without permission.
どういうことだよ。
What are you talking about?
どうも何も言葉通りだ。研究所の誰かが試作段階のデータを使って、ご親切にもこいつをリライバーにしたんだ。
It's exactly as I said. Someone in this institute stole my prototype data and used it to turn him into a
あ
Reliver.
れは試作段階の上、副作用があるというのに。
Not only was it a prototype, it has known side effects. Side effects? Before I could ask him what they were. Choking. That guy's choking. The man's suffering was getting worse.
閣下、気を確かに。
Your Majesty, or Highness even, just hold on. Can't you turn him into a Reliver?
無理だ。こいつが装置を壊したから今はリライバー化の作業が忙しい。培養機の空きもないだろ
It's impossible. He broke our equipment, so now our schedule's backed up. There's no open incubators.
う。
But
このまま死ぬのを待つしかないな。
there's only choices to die. The man twisted and turned with agony. After spewing out blood, he stopped moving completely. His bloodshot eyes were wide open and unblinking. At that very moment, a member of the royal Revipore family had passed away.
閣下。
Your Highness, no one knows you by name, by the
やは
way.
り今の症状は。
So that was, the soldiers started to move at once. Some tried to revive him and others turned on their transmitters, and some began devising a plan in all the commotion.
まずい。このままだとシアンさんが責任を押し付けられそうだ。今のうちにここを離れた方がいいかもしれないね。
Shoot, at this rate they're gonna pin the blame on Sheen. We better get out of here while we still can.
それが良さそうだ。
Yeah, no way around it. Grab the girl, my guys.
シェールの全国民よ聞け今 この瞬間に王族の中でも信心深く、最も愛されていた男が息を引き取った。
Citizens of Apachel, hear me. At this very moment, the most poised and beloved of the royal family has passed away. He was not poised at all.
最古のリライバー、シアン・ブロフィアーズに殺されたのだ。
He was killed by the oldest reliver, Scien Brofiise. Like, that is not how trials work. Where is the judicial system here? Where's that coming from? Like, again, back to this, like, blaming people and not getting any proofs. You can't pin that on him. I mean, you can, because you guys suck, but, like, like, there's no formal research. He was not there when he was told, I will bring you back as a reliver. Like, none of that happened. You can't just be like, he did it. Like, what? There's no trial. There's no checking for evidence. Like, what the flippin' tables. The voice sounded like it was coming from the Institute speakers connected to a transmitter. A voice sounding as if it belonged to another royal began pinning the blame on Sheen.
おい、まずいぞ。今の声、研究所内だけじゃなくて、国中に流れてる。
Yeah, and imagine the lawsuit for oh gosh, what's the word? What's the word? What's the word? Hang on, I got it. Don't tell me. I know the word. It's when you say something that isn't true about someone else, and it's a criminal offense because one, you're either hurting their reputation or their work, and it's proven to not be true. Man, can't think of the word. What's the word? Slander? It's not slander, but it's similar to slander. There is a word for it when it's actually like you're being sued for it. Dang it, I can't think of the word. What? We're gonna have to suffer through the bad endings and wait for salvation endings. Hopefully use justice in the right way and not frame my husband. I'm so sorry. Their bad endings are so bad. I see. So whoever that is using the speakers outside to transmit messages to the public. Yeah, because they suck. We citizens have been used as test subjects by the sinner Scien Brofiise, who has purposely included a defect in all clones. Not only the clones, he also is using non-relivers as his own personal test subjects. Stupid now. According to classified papers we obtained from the Institute, the Brofiise family has been conducting experiments on humans, as expected. The Brofiise family is the real death that was spread across. Hang on, I'll say that again. My brain is saying different letters and words. The Brofiise family is the real death that has spread the curse of death across the land. Okay, now you're saying that he created the curse? Like you were... That's so dumb. They have ruled this country with deceit, claiming to lift the curse. They are perpetrating. This is a lot. How did you have this prepared to say 5 seconds after the guy died? Blaming somebody without a trial. I hate waiting for salvation endings at the final of the game. Just give us salvation endings after we suffered through some bad endings. Yeah, I think that's weird to have like the true endings, because let's be real, like the good endings are considered really the true ones. That you can't get those until after. Like, it's unique for sure. I've never had that happen before. But like, oh man, these bad endings are so intense. Sorry, I keep kicking. I have a step stool that I don't know how to describe it. It's like a rocking step stool, and I keep kicking it with my foot. I just kicked the table instead, though. In fact, inhumane experiments are being performed in secrecy. I pray for the souls who have died agonizing deaths at that institute that I was fully fuck aware of.
我々が年を老いる前に命を散らすのも、感情が欠落した不自然な生命体に転生せざるを得ないのも。
You can die at 23 if you want to, or you can do this. It is or it isn't. You have never gotten old, and you literally, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. This reminds me of Rocco's Modern Life, where like there's a girl in Rocco's Modern Life who's all like, he sunk the Titanic, and then everyone's like, oh my god, he sunk the Titanic, and he's like, I wasn't even alive then. They're like, he did it, he sunk the Titanic, he's the reason all those people died on the Titanic. And that's what this feels like when you're like, he caused the curse, he didn't cure it, he's the reason it exists. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, you're just adding all these things together, and while it might work as in the general populace because these people trust you, but we have seen none of the royals. They have not spoken of the royals in a way that makes me go, oh, the royals are so cool. So the fact that they're trying to use the royal family and none of the royal people have faces, they're all these ghosts on the screen, it's kind of annoying. We are unable to live until old age and must resort to becoming emotionless, defective, unnatural entities. All because of the Brofiise family. The royal speech continued as we tried to get a grasp on what was going on. The content was so baseless and unreasonable that we could only listen in stunned silence. Is this being heard by all the citizens? Even a child could easily predict the chaos to follow. Sheen, you need to escape. Right now. Before I could tug on his sleeve, Dahat was... And some researchers appeared because... Dramatic entrances. Of course, I'm sure Dahat will be able to prove that Sheen is innocent. No, he's not.
Scien Brofiise あなたを永久的に研究所から追放します。
Scien Brofiise, you are hereby exiled from the Institute
ま
indefinitely.
た、現国王からのことづけです。王族殺しの滞在人として、あなたの処刑が決まりました。
Yeah, Dahat, I hate you. Yeah, here's another thing too, right? Because Dahat has been chill for this whole thing. The part that bothers me is, and you would even like go back and look at the things, like his voice is like so chipper and fun and excited and just a little bubbly ray of sunshine. And now you're going to tell me that he's not that. And I'm just like, come on, you can't do this again and again and again. It gets a little tiring if every single storyline has to have a bad person in it. And the only bad person I'll ever forgive is Mathis, and that's because he's not in control of his body. And even then, it's not that I would be with him. I still wouldn't be with him. But I can forgive his actions. The king has sent up his decree. You have been sentenced to death for killing a member of the royal family. Yeah, Dahat, that was you. You killed this guy with your fancy hair. Huh? Sheen's expression didn't change even after hearing his death sentence. The royal guard slowly closed in upon hearing the sentence from Dahat. Hugo and Ease drew their swords, but they were outnumbered in the conflicted, confined space. Seeing them protecting me and Sheen, a shadow fell upon Dahat's face.
すみません、シアンさん。さすがに僕も王族の命令には逆らえないんです。
I'm sorry, Sheen. Even I can't go against the royal family's decree. And now he's like hiding behind that, right? Because you're like, oh, but he's just so sweet. And then I'm like, but he's not. He just doesn't like the confrontation of being an evil person. But that doesn't make you less of a bad guy. Just because you don't want to be bad also doesn't make you less of a bad guy. Like, this is mean.
それに、あなたがいなくなれば、感情メモリーの研究を進めることができる。
And then I can
この機会に逃す
move forward
なん
with
てでき
my
ません。
research on memory retention. This is an unmissable
だ
opportunity.
から僕は僕のためにあなたをトップから引きずり下ろします。
Now, what you meant to say is I need it, so I need to drag you down from the top for my own
延
sake.
命だけを目的としたリライバーなんてもういりません。これからはれっきとした人間を作るために尽力します。
We don't need relivers just to extend our lives anymore. I will work to create actual humans from now on.
そうか。
I see.
だが、俺の命はやれないな。
That doesn't mean you can kill me.
え
Huh? A large blade hovered in front of my eyes. It was the one of the swords that Sheen kicked out of the hand of one of the soldiers. Tahat and the rest looked on in shock, but not understanding what happened in the moment.
ヒューゴ
Hugo!
ああ、わかってる。
Got it. The sword fell to the ground with a clink that signaled our chance to escape. Yves and Hugo used the blunt ends of their swords to knock the soldiers out cold.
そう、雑用係。
Let's go, maid. You stupid. Okay. You know my name. We quickly ran through the opening. Would be easier if we could simply keep running to the exit, but seeing that we were making a run for it, some of the soldiers began to make chase.
仕方ない。
Damn it. Gas! Oh no, Sheen took out a few small, oh it's his, orbs from his belt and tossed them behind us. Suddenly, eek! Oh, there were bombs? I thought they were gas. He just carries bombs in his pockets? The soldiers were blown back after a large explosion. White smoke began to rise, hiding us from the view. Were those explosives?
いざという時のために用意しておいたが、まさかこんな形で役に立つとはな。
I had them prepared just in case, but I never expected them to be so handy.
おいおい、よかったのか。あんな派手な爆発だと研究機材とか中にいた奴らがやばいんじゃ。
You sure about that? A flash explosion like that could knock out your equipment and your staff.
投げたのは研究室の前だ。よほど運が悪くない限り大丈夫だろう。それより今のうちに逃げるぞ。
I tossed them towards the front of the laboratory, so unless luck isn't on our side, everything should be fine. Now let's go. Okay. With Sheen's motion, we quickly escaped from the chaos of the laboratory. A number of soldiers did attack us along the way, but Yves and Hugo mowed them down easily. We finally reached the back entrance just as we thought we made it. In the confusion and clamor of the facility, we can... Someday, I'll be strong and brave and be able to read a sentence without getting the words wrong over and over again. In the confusion and clamor of the facility, we could hear strangely clear footsteps. Coming into view was Barrow. What the? A person we thought was dead. Barrow appeared in front of us like a ghost.
なんでこいつがここに。あの時死んだんじゃなかったのか。
What the hell? Why is he here? I thought he was already
わ
dead.
からない。でも戦いを避けては通れなさそうだな。
I don't know, but we probably can't avoid fighting him. If I throw myself in front of Sheen, will Barrow not murder him?
やるしかない。
There's no telling when we'll be caught from behind. We can't avoid him.
雑用係。お前は巻き込まれないように下がっていろ。
Maid, step back so you don't get hurt. Sheen, I don't think they need to protect you that much. Just saying, Barrow's a serial killer. Okay. Immediately, Barrow was not going to kill her. Before I could even see them prepare for battle, Barrow leapt in to attack.
重い。
That was close. He's barely stopped the strike from above. But Barrow was so powerful that Yves could only slide his weapon away. Using the opportunity, Sheen leapt high into the air and dropped his heel down, but he missed the mark. Of course you did. He's a superhuman, my guys. Hugo joined in the fray, but even the three of them were unable to get past Barrow's spinning halberd.
こいつやっぱり強すぎる。
Way too strong.
こうなったらもう一度これを使うしかないな。
suppose that I need to use these again. Sheen took out the orbs he had, so oh my gosh. Sheen took the, every single word is like going like that. This is my brain this morning. I'm not awake, I don't think. Sheen took out the orbs he had so that only we could see them.
それ聞きますかね
You think they'll work?
煙幕代わりにはなるだろう。黙って一旦下がれ。
At least it can give us cover. Now shut up and move back. With Sheen's voice, the two quickly moved back, and then the explosives flew. The entire hallway was filled with smoke. The attack must have been unexpected as Barrow's frail body was taken off balance. The three of them moved in unison. Three of them moved in using the opportunity, but Barrow, covered in dust and soot, quickly raised his halberd before they could charge in and swung it straight onto the floor in front. The floor seemed to shriek in pain, perhaps aided by the impact of the explosion. No! Before I could scream, the floor crumbled. A huge gaping hole appeared in its place, and it sucked in the debris to its depths. This floor, how far down does it go? That was close. Bees and Hugo were able to leap back out of the hole's reach. Sheen tried the same, but... Pull him out, Barrow. Barrow wouldn't let that happen. As he fell, he quickly grabbed onto Sheen's ankles to drag him down. Sheen's body leaned towards the hole. Sheen, grab my hand. Why would he do that? He looked at me as I reached out towards him and...
Ike.
Go. You refused to take hold of my hand. Sir, I will hurt you. He fell into the darkness with Barrow. Barrow's gonna survive that. Sheen! Sheen! I looked down into the hole, but it was so dark that I couldn't see a thing. Why is there a hole of, like, doom under this building? What?
まずいな。どうやらブローもシアンさんを狙っているみたいだ。
This is bad. It looks like Barrow is after Sheen too. We need to go and save him. We do not need to.
どうやら地下に落ちてったみたいだな。迂回する時間はねえし。
I hear ya. I hear what you're saying. Seems like they fell down pretty deep. Not like we have time to find a way down.
ここから降りていくしかないかな。ヒューゴ、ロープは持っているよね。それを使おう。
Guess we have to go down from here. Hugo, you have some rope on you, right? Let's use that.
わかった。
All right, got it. I just want to go too. I mean, Sheen might be injured down there. And there's going to need someone to watch over Sheen if you two end up fighting Barrow. I hit the wrong button.
ああ、まあ、難しいかもな。
Well, you have a point. I understand well enough that I might actually be a burden. Even so, I want to be Sheen's burden.
俺と共にいたいからと言えばいい。
Say that you want to be with me.
簡単に言えば、お前は俺に情を抱いているのだろう?
Just tell me that you have feelings for me. I couldn't leave Sheen behind and run to safety without telling him my answer. You don't have to answer that question. That was a trap. The question was a trap. He doesn't have emotions. He doesn't love. He can't feel. Why are there alien tunnels under here? What the heck? It seemed like I was able to somehow avoid death. I just realized something. Hang on. I'm trying to cross my legs, and the blanket that because I'm an old lady, was under my is under my chair, and I'm like, I can't cross my legs right now because I'm pulling on a blanket that will not budge. All right, I don't know why you guys have a basement with green goo in it. Actually, let's take a better look at this real quick. All right, so we have, I don't know, chemical X literally pouring out from a hole in the ceiling and like red lights everywhere. Are we somewhere else? Whose room are we in? It seemed like I was able to somehow avoid death from the fall. Instead, I fell into a strange colored liquid. Now, if the hot is evil and bad, then he also could be the person who leaked to the Society of Exorcists the information on how to do cloning, and that could also potentially be why Barrow is here, because Barrow works for the Society of Exorcists, and if they want to pin this all on Sheen, then maybe they're trying to kill Sheen before it's too late, or maybe the opposite is true and they're trying to recruit Sheen before it's too late. Either could be possible, but we're gonna see what happens next. It seems like I was able to somehow avoid death from the fall. Instead, I fell into a strange colored liquid. My clothes were wet, but fortunately my bones weren't broken.
ブローはいないな。落下の衝撃でどこかに吹っ飛んでいったか。
Barrow isn't around. Perhaps he fell somewhere else during the
し
fall.
かし、ここはどこだ?
Now then, where am I? This could also be Barrow's plan. Maybe wherever he's at is what Barrow wants him to see. I knew I must be somewhere under the Institute, even so I wasn't aware of this place.
なんだここは。研究所にこんな施設があったなんて知らないぞ。
Where is this place? I never knew there was an open area located under the Institute.
それにこの機材、以前廃棄処分したものだな。これ単体だと機能しないはずだが。
This device, it's one I discarded before. It's missing the parts I need for it
と
to
いう
work.
ことは、どこかに部品を横流しされたのか。
Which means the parts must have been used for something else. It seemed I needed to investigate this once I regained control of the Institute. My guy, I don't think you're going to get it this time. As I thought of my next step, I heard a sound. A sound of someone splashing through this strange liquid. Barrow, my boy, there you are. Missed you.
やはり無傷か。
Without even a scratch. After confirming my existence, Barrow readied his halberd. I didn't have any more explosives on me.
相手は獲物を持っている上に、こちらは丸腰。
He has his trusted weapon, whereas I'm
どこま
unarmed.
で持つかはわからないが、やるしかないか。
I'm not sure how long I will last, but I suppose I don't have a choice. I slowly got into position against the monster looming in front of me. Back. We are back. Going down the hole using rope. What? Rope? Going down the hole using the rope was a lot more strenuous than we thought. Yeah, because it's a giant hole in the ground and rope dangles and like sways terribly. You needed like a ladder. They make rope ladders, which aren't great, but they're better than just rope. It took 10 or so minutes to finally get down to the bottom of the hole. Wait a second. You guys are being chased already. I feel like you wouldn't have gotten a choice to find a rope and get down here. The first thing I felt when I touched the ground wasn't dirt, but something cold.
水の中に瓦礫が散らばっているから足元に気をつけて。
The debris is littered in the water, so be careful where you step. Okay. A large passage with strange water flowing through it. I didn't recall Sheen ever telling me such a place existed under the Institute. Glad that's her first thought. I've never been told about this place. You didn't need to know, even if he did know. I looked around, but Sheen was nowhere in sight. Neither was Barrow. Did you forget that a murderer came down here? What are you talking about? The only thing I saw was the passage with running water and some kind of device stuck against the wall. Where could Sheen and Barrow have gone? That's an
ここ
opening
に落ちた
go.
のは間違いないんだけどね。戦いの形跡もちょっとあるし。
I'm sure this is where they fell. There's even traces of them fighting that I can see too.
おい、こっちに血痕が残ってるぞ。割と新しいものだから、二人のうちのどちらかだと思う。
Hugo is so pure and innocent. He doesn't want to say the actual obvious. Hey, there's blood marks here. They seem fresh, so I think it belongs to one of them. Hugo waved his hands and called us out to us after going deeper into the passage to investigate. Which means Sheen is that way. He's that way. The only way. We looked at each other and followed the blood marks on the wall through this place that looked like the inside of a human body. Good example, I agree. My clothes were drenched and heavy. Even so, I did my best to keep moving so that I could find him. He's okay. Sheen said he's beamed off assassins before, so I'm sure he'll be fine, even against Barrow, the strongest person in the entire world, that in his line of love kills everyone. Sheen's gonna make it. I kept trying to convince myself as I ran, and just as I turned the corner, the water flowed before us, turned a brownish red. In the middle of the area was someone silently standing in the dark. Barrow. The halberd in his hand was painted crimson, and the owner of the blood was, I'm so sorry, I kicked the table again, was down in the water. I think I missed it. Scene! We're too late. With my scream, Eves and Hugo readied their swords. Eves quickly glanced at Hugo and then made the first move. Barrow's too strong, guys. You can't win. Sensing danger, Barrow swiftly swung his weapon behind him. Eves crouched so to somehow avoid the slash that had been that would have sliced him in two. Jeez. A powerful gust from the slash ran through the passage, and a part of the string holding Eve's mask tore from the halberd. Eves broke into a cold sweat knowing he was close to death. But he continued his assault, planting his left leg and spinning his body with his sword in hand. Using the momentum, he landed a powerful blow. Barrow must not have expected such an attack from Eves, whose looks were deceiving, aren't they both? Barrow blocked the attack with his halberd, but the sword struck so hard that he was blown back quite a bit. Finally came to my senses seeing them exchange their flurry of attacks that rocked the area. I have to go to Sheen now. Of course, yes, obviously that's the most important. Not just getting out, but getting Sheen. Hugo and I quickly headed to Sheen and shook him awake. I quickly looked at his face, but it was completely pale and lifeless. I looked at his abdomen and saw a huge wound that was with blood pouring out. I quickly used both my hands to try and stop the bleeding, but it wasn't doing it much. Sheen! Sheen! He's alive. We need to get you out of here. And Eves was blown against the wall, which crumbled into pieces from the impact. Great! An exit! Eves! Oh yeah, right. Eves! Eves must have been knocked unconscious as there was no movement underneath the wall rubble. No longer concerned about Eves, Barrow began his stride towards us. He repointed his halberd and was ready to strike. Move back. I'll buy you some time so you try and get out of here with him. A breeze. In a blink of an eye, Barrow spread past Hugo. And did that thing where you hit the back of your sword on him and he just falls down. With a chance to prepare himself, he quickly closed in on me and Sheen. Nothing stood in Barrow's way now. He raised his halberd high with the intent of cleaving the two of us and... Sheen! I instinctively embraced Sheen and closed my eyes. After all, I didn't have the courage to see myself being cut in two. I hit the button 3 times. Okay. No pain and no heat. Instead, I heard the clink of metal. I opened my eyes to discover. Wait a second. Are you telling me that the one and only Lucas who loves me so much would actually try to attack me in this storyline? He's bloody and gross, but he's protecting us.
俺の雑用係に
What are you
何をする
doing to my maid? He awoke and blocked the destructive halberd. Sheen!
それ以外の何に見える
Lucas, I'll hurt you. Who else do you think I am? Who's alive? You're alive, Sheen, you're
勝手
alive.
に殺すなまあそれも時間の問題だが
I was never dead. Then again, it's only a matter of time. Okay, if he dies, because I know he's close to 23 and he's currently being attacked by like the killer of this show. If he dies right now, he'll have no memory possibly of her if he hadn't been backed up recently. The other question is, how frequently do people back up their memories in this world? I would imagine it's every couple of months so as to, not overload the system, but like you have to keep backing yourself up to have the most recent memories. And I would imagine when you're close to death, you probably get a chance to back yourself up a little bit more frequently so that you don't lose all of that, I don't know, progress in your brain. With the iron rod he used to block the attack, there was no chance he could remain unscathed with Barrow's colossal power. Sheen's bones creaked and let out a horrible wail. But he's bloodied. Look at him. For some reason, Barrow's arms relaxed slightly after Sheen's protected me, as if in unison. An inorganic mechanical sound unfitted of the situation began to play. I wonder why. It was coming from Eve's chest when he was knocked out cold. Somehow the sound did wonders. Everyone here, even Barrow, was fixated on the sound, not moving a muscle. And then... Help! Sister Salome's orphanage! If this keeps up every... Oh... The curtains of despair rose not from the scream of humans, but a mechanical sound. If you hurt her, I will end you.
つまり我々が年老いる前に命を散らすのも感情が欠落した不自然な生命体に転生せざるを得ないのも
We're unable to live to old age. We're defective.
ブロフィワーズ家のせいだ
All because of the Brophy family. Salome and the children at the orphanage. Hurt her and kids, I swear. We're listening to the voice coming from the speaker, completely stunned.
あの男が全ての元凶
He's the source of everything.
ねえマム、あのおじちゃん悪い人だったの？
Mother? Was he a bad person? Huh?
意地悪なおじちゃんだったけど、私が壊した腕飾りのこと許してくれたのに。
He was a meanie, but he didn't get mad when I broke the bracelet in his
そう
room.
ね一つだけ言えるとしたらあのおじちゃんは悪人ではあるけど今の放送で言っていたようなことはしてないわ
Let me see. The only thing I can say right now is that he is a bad person. But he would never do what you just heard.
やっぱそうだよね。
I knew it. That's good to hear, said Girl D.
どうしてそんなにあのおじちゃんのことを気にするの
Why are you so worried about
だ
him?
って私まだおじちゃんに腕飾りのことごめんなさいしてないもん。
Because I haven't said
私が
sorry
悪かったのに
for breaking his bracelet, even though it was my
お
fault.
じちゃんが悪い人だったら捕まっちゃうでしょ。そしたらごめんなさいできなくなっちゃうから。
If he's a bad guy, then that means he's going to get caught, right? Then I won't be able to see him anymore.
おじちゃん大丈夫かな。
I hope he's gonna be alright.
マム、みんな、
藤子。
Mama, is everything okay? Suddenly, Adolphe came in with a serious look on his face. Next to him was members of the
アドルフ
corpse.
お兄ちゃんおかえりなさい。
Oh, hey there!
もう終わったの？
Girl, do you get way too many voice lines? Hey there, Adolphe. Are you done with work already?
よかった。この辺りはまだ落ち着いてるようだな。
Glad to see that things look okay around
さ
here.
っきの放送を聞いていたけれど、あの男、どんな揉め事を起こしたのかしら。
I heard the news through the speaker. What kind of trouble did that man
変
cause
な
this
抗議
time?
活動は最近ずっとあったけど、王族にまであんな風に言われるなんて。
He's had his share of protest against him, but not with the royal family in agreement.
研究所で何かあったのかもしれない。最近内部でも分裂が起こってるしな。
I'm guessing something happened at the institute. They have internal politics
アド
brewing.
ルフ、なぜあなたがそんなことを知っているの？
Adolphe, can I ask you how you know that?
いや、
Ah, well.
シスターサロメが経営する養護施設はここか。
Is this the orphanage Sister Salome manages? A group of Royal Guard soldiers barged into the orphanage. Standing behind them was a man with an appearance and attire resemblant of the royal family. Upon seeing them, Adolphe and the corpse members moved in front of Salome and the girl.
サロメは確かに私ですが、何用でしょうか？
I am Salome. Why have you come here? Salome did her best to respond resolutely as Adolphe and the others protected her. The man standing in the back suddenly glared at Salome. It was the royal family. You should know this because you hate them so much.
この施設に住む者が死神と共謀していることが判明した。
We learned that you are defending and conspiring with the one known as
よ
death.
って見せしめとしてこれよりそなたたちを粛清する。
As such, we will be purging this facility as punishment.
粛清？死神と共謀って一体どういうこと？
Purging? What do you mean by conspiring with death?
そなたたちがかつてシアン・ブロフィワーズと共謀し、クーネにて騒ぎを起こしたことは知っている。
We
我らの目
know
を欺こうとしたようだが、
that those
通用
here
せぬぞ。
once worked with Scien Brofiise and caused problems in Cohen. It's no use trying to make excuses now.
ブローの件なら変死事件の謎を追うためにしたことだ。
If referring to Barrow, it was to discover the truth behind the deaths.
では、この施設の娘や自警団がシアン・ブロフィワーズの護衛をしていることはどう説明する？
Then how do you explain the fact that the girl who lives here along with the corpse have been providing support for Scien Brofiise?
それこそ、そなたたち
Explain
が
that.
共謀している証拠ではないのか？
That is proof that you people have been working in cooperation with him. Snap, snap.
あの男、護衛？どういうことなの？アドルフ。
You were providing support? What are they talking about?
と
Well,
にかく、そなたたちとこれ以上話すことはない。
well, in that case, there's nothing more to
この
say.
国の本当の支配者は誰なのか。それをそなたたちの命をもってして、
Is that
国
it?
民へと知らしめるのだ。
Dominique Reveprior, you're just mad that no one cares about you anymore? My alarm went off. Oh no, oh no. That means Melanie Martinez tickets are going on sale soon. I gave myself a limit. I can't buy the really fancy ones this time. Which is exciting. Sometimes. Oh gosh, did I copy the thingamabob? I totally forgot about this for just a second. I'm glad I put the alarm on. I would have just kept playing. Queue. Join the queue. Alright. We're gonna be authentication. I'm a real girl, I swear. Alright, am I in the queue yet? Thanks for joining. Yay! Alright, we got 4 minutes before they actually go up. I just knew I had to get in queue, so we'll see how it goes. We'll show the civilians who the real ruler of this countries are by making you pay with your lives. That's It's an iron fist, I'm saying. That's not how you get people to get in line. With that, the royal guards drew their swords and stood ready to attack. Mother, everyone, hurry, run. I'm going to say this again. If you are going to put characters in this and give them a bunch of lines, maybe give them names. Girl D is screaming. And I wish I could just say, oh no, Holly. You know, like it's... The children made a run for it with Adolf and the others guarding their escape, but Salome would not move or step away from Adolf. Mother, hurry up and... Why is this happening? You expect me to just accept that as truth when our lives are in danger? How dare you festering grubs say that when you're the ones harming the innocent? You are the true manifestations of death. Hey! It is slander, I guess. Okay. They're the ones throwing all the shade over here, and they're like, I'll have you hung! How dare you? I'll have you executed for slander and treason. The royal drew his sword after hearing Salome's statement, and... Dun 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 dun. I swear if you kill my mama. After that, we met up with Mathis and Jean, who took us by car to the orphanage. How did you get out of the tunnel? You guys just blacked out. You were in a tunnel you've never seen before. There was no doors down there. We wanted to see what really happened after Ease received a message through his transmitter that the orphanage was in danger. If you think of this like as a real car, and you're staring at these guys, they look like they're literal dolls standing in the backseat. Is everyone right? You're all pretty bruised. I'm alive at least. Same here. And you might be Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles after this because we don't know what that slime stuff was down there, and you got open wounds, and I'm sure your open wounds ended up in some of that stuff. We have to get you two patched up once we get to the orphanage, since I can only do so much inside the car. Orphanage might be on fire. If only that were possible. Look at this man. As an ominous anxiety swirled in my mind as I continued tending to everyone's wounds. I touch my screen every now and then or it doesn't like me. That message. Something must have happened to Mother and the children. Less than a minute. Please be safe. I have to admit, I'm still surprised Barrow was still alive. I never expected to hear the name again. Mathis' expression went stern. Since we were in his car, we explained that Mathis and Jean, what happened at the Institute, we explained that Sheen was blamed as death, and we were attacked by Barrow, and we were thrown into an underground tunnel. And I'm not sure how we got out, because we just pretended it didn't happen at the very end. Still, I wonder why Barrow actually let us go. Something didn't feel right. Barrow was bored. Barrow's like, oh man, there's 25 people ahead of me. I'm not sure why either. I'm also surprised by the passage was connected to the beach. Thank you, Ease. Thank you for knowing. I wanted to know what's going on. Hang on. I just got my thing and I had a theory. It just popped up right now. Haste my thing so I can unlock my tickets, please. Thank you. Let's see. Please let me click on things. I want to click on things. Those are more expensive than I was planning on paying for. So let's see about right here. They're the same price. Oh no. Do I want those? Is that where I want to sit? I wanted to be closer than that, but that's fine. It's fine. I just want to see her, so it's fine. I was really close at her last concert. We don't have so I have rent to pay. I'm like, your tickets are going on a bad day. So I asked my sister if she was okay if the tickets were about 100 for both of us, so. All right, I will be right back because it's asking me for my credit card information. So give me one quick second so I can buy these tickets. I got 7 minutes to pay for them. One moment. I just remembered I have PayPal on my phone. It had the option for PayPal, so I had to grab my credit card, so it didn't take me very long at all. All right, it says I got tickets. I would have gotten better tickets. The issue was we just bought 30-second to Mars tickets as well, and she didn't have a Phoenix date originally. I would probably done her better seats for her concert than 30-second to Mars if her tickets were available at the time. Yeah, I'm so excited. I don't know if you know who Melanie Martinez is. She has beautiful music. She has a gorgeous voice. And I really enjoy her shows. We went to her last 2 concerts actually in Phoenix. So her last concert was, oh goodness, just a couple months ago? It wasn't long ago at all. So I'm pretty excited. All right, it was this year. That's all I can remember. So I was actually surprised she announced another tour. And then she announced the tour. She didn't have a Phoenix date. So I was like, I guess we can't go because I like Melanie Martinez. I am not going to pay like for a rental. I'm not going to pay for a hotel. I'm not going that far. And then they announced extra dates. And this was after I bought 30 Seconds to Mars tickets. And so I was like, ugh. But yeah, this one she's going to do songs from her last 3 albums. So it's going to be Void. No, it is Portal. It is Portal. Void's the song. K-12 and Crybaby. I think that's the first one. I can't remember. So I'm excited. All right, back to the show. I'm not sure why either. I'm also surprised that the passage was connected to the beach. After the message, actually, let me text my sister. I just remembered, LOL. Crybaby is one of our favorite albums. That's actually why I was like, dude, let's go. Because we just saw her do her Portal concert. And so we didn't go to any of her Crybaby concerts. So the first one we went to was a K-12 one. We also went to like a pop-up thing they had for that. But went to the K-12 concert, went to the Portal concert. So let me tell my sister how much it was. Because we also have to pay rent, LOL. I literally told her, like, if the tickets are like $50, Would you be okay with that? And she's all like, sure. After the message was from the transmitter, we continued through the passage and ended up at the beach near the Lycris field. It was there that we happened upon Jean. But, oh, this is what I was going to say. This tunnel leads out to the beach. Think about that for just a second. Who did we find at the beach randomly one day? In a different storyline, and he didn't really have a good explanation why he was there. Because, like, oh, this is just near the hospital. This is just near the hospital. Sometimes my guys take their breaks over here. Sometimes the patients wander over here. He didn't have a clear answer for why he was there. But this tunnel opens up out at the beach and leads to the Institute. How convenient. I was rather surprised myself. That's right, I found this while I was there. Jean passed us some papers as he steered the car with one hand. It looked like it was a newspaper, but this one had a few pages, almost like an extra edition. It's all about you, Sheen. It not only went on about how Sheen was death, it described the horrific conditions in the laboratory and the hideous monster kept in the underground laboratory. What's this? It's a bunch of things that aren't even true.
Sheen,
are you aware of these claims?
実験室については事実だが、おぞましい怪物とかいうのは知らんな。そもそも地下施設があることすら初めて知った。
When blood is your color. If you pretend that this is blood from murdering things, they look adorable. The experiments are true, but not the hideous monster part. I don't even know about an underground laboratory. I see. Yeah, because if you say anything, it can happen. I assume the royal family is trying to pin all the blame on Sheen. I believe that is true based on the announcement earlier. If so, if an ordinary citizen reads this, they'll think it's true and blame Sheen. That's horrible. However, Sheen didn't show any concern at all. In any case, the orphanage comes first. Let's see if that woman and her brats are safe. Does he care? He then slowly closed his eyes because he's dying. He's 23 years old in this body, but like 80 in real life. We arrived at the orphanage to discover a lot of other cars parked outside. Mother, everyone. I couldn't complete my sentence. Is my mom dead? Are my kids dead? No. The place I called home, the warm home that was a symbol of peace, it was now painted red. It can't be. No. The children lying face down on the floor couldn't be real. I quickly embraced one of the girls in a pool of blood. Girl D! Hang in there. It's sis. And see, the meanie is here too. Imagine if her name was Holly, man. Like, give her a name. The girl I embraced was the same girl who came with me to clean Sheen's room. If it said Holly, we would just know. She was so cute with her expression constantly changing, but now her face looked hollow and her voice was silent. It wasn't just her. The living, breathing children I had once known were dead in the garden, and the smell of fresh blood permeated the air. Mother, Adolphe, our family. It seems they were struck during their escape. I don't see sister or any of the corpse, but wasn't it one of our guys who called through the transmitter? Yeah, meaning they might have made it out alive. I don't see the royal guard, so maybe we can look. Stop! Don't you dare touch him. Mama! I heard a voice like a scream coming from inside. That voice. Mother! Before I knew it, I was running into the orphanage. I wouldn't lose anyone else. I would protect my family with my life. Not in this timeline.
王家を侮辱する者に鉄槌よ
Judgment to those who spit upon the royal family. But rage and resolve weren't enough. Adolph's head fell. Oh my god. I didn't understand the scene unfolding before my eyes. Two things I did know. Adolph's body was pinned to the floor by some men with his hands tied behind his back. Two, a sword was swung down onto his neck. His head rolled. His head, which was on his body just moments before, spewed blood as it rolled to my feet. Adolph. I slowly went down to my knees to pick up my dear brother. Oh my god. What just happened? I embraced his head and looked around the orphanage to see blood all over the place. I saw a number of the corpse members dead with stab wounds all over their bodies. I assumed the person who was trying to contact us was among the dead now.
そんな
Adolph,
おい嘘だろ
you've got to be kidding. Eves and Hugo. I was finally brought back to reality by the heartbreaking voice of Adolph's friends. He was dead. Adolph was dead. He was decapitated. My girl, there's just so many ways you can say the same thing. He was killed. Look at a CG of you hugging his head. No! Where's Mama? Sister Salome screamed with Leah as she was restrained at the back of the room by the soldiers.
いい君だこの男そなたを人質にした途端抵抗すらしなくな
How
ったな
pathetic. He actually stopped fighting as soon as we took you
サ
hostage.
ロメよこの男を殺したのは我らではない王族たる我に暴言を吐いたそなただ
If I was in this game, I would get rid of the royal family. Yeah. Yeah, death to honestly, I want her death touch back. I want her to be the guy who turns people to gold, but instead it's just death and you just pop and they die. They're done. Also, I mean, if I was Salome, and I don't know, I wasn't there, they literally cut away from the scene, I probably would have said if I had myself backed up, like, guy, don't worry, I'm backed up. Like, my brother will not let me die. I would imagine. I want her... I want her dark revenge story where she walks around just touching people. Yeah, I want that ending. I want the true ending, which is I kill this entire island instead of Lucas. Salome, we're not the ones who killed him. It was you for spewing blasphemy at the royal family.
ふざけるな
How dare
お
you?
前たちは私からまた奪うのか
You're gonna
大切な人
steal from me again, my dear family, my precious. Salome's body shook with rage as she struggled to free herself from the royal guard. But she was no match for the group of soldiers pushing her to the floor under their weight.
この女はどうしますかご要望の通り特等席で男が殺されるところを見せてやりましたが
Your Highness, what shall we do with her? As you commanded, we made sure she had a clear view of what that man being killed.
そうだなもう用は
We
ない
need
か
to
ら
do
処分して
something.
や
No,
る
we're just gonna stand
そなた
here
たち
and
を好きにして
listen to this
構わん
exposition. That's the only thing I don't like about these games is that there's so many times where like instead of having something happen, let's just hear. Let's just listen to them talk. I have no use for her anymore, so do what you
た
want.
だ新たな客が来てくれたようだなしかも死神までご来店
Han
くだ
could
さる
give me my power. Instead of taking them away or repressing them, make them stronger. That said, it looks like we have guests and a special visit by death. Take good care of them for me. The royal and his men were gloating, likely because they had Salome as hostage. It seemed to be working as Yves and Hugo had their swords drawn, but they were unmoving. Lee was in an even worse state. Adolphe. Her foster brother's sudden death left her in a daze, motionless. Adolphe's hollow eyes were looking up at Lee. Lies. This can't be true. Adolphe is always by my side. He's a strong person.
撤退するぞ。
Let's retreat. Lee continued to reject reality as Sheen lifted her, with Adolphe's head up into his arms.
しかし、それではシスターが。
What about the sister?
言っておくが、それ以上こちらに近づいたら、この女も命はないぞ。
Let me warn you that this woman will die the moment you take a step closer. Oh, World Guard F is dying. A huge pole flew through the air and struck one of the soldiers holding down Salome. The pole turned out to be a halberd. The weapon that couldn't be lifted by several men completely crushed the soldiers' bodies into a bloody mess. What the?
このハルバード
Lucas has arrived. That halberd, it can't be. Just as Mathis yelled. He's like, hey. For once, he gets a point from you. You don't know what he's gonna do next. Barrow crashed through the ceiling and landed in the room. He's gonna kill the royal, too. He grabbed the halberd and struck it in the middle of the pool of blood and quickly rent around soldiers into... Blood and quickly... I'm trying to think what the actual word... Rent is not right. Ripped? Ripped, maybe? Sister, over here! When she was released by her captor, Hugo quickly lifted Salome into his arms. He's just like, hi, bae. Oh, Hugo and Salome! That'd be a cute couple. When she was released by her captor, Hugo quickly lifted Salome into his arms. Sheen and the others slowly moved back to the entrance. As for Barrow, he turned and pointed his halberd at the man and his soldiers. Retreat! Retreat! I wish Luca was here to save the kids too. He couldn't. He was in a dark tunnel with us that led out to the beach next to the church of, people who like to exercise things. They didn't have the strength or the means to fight such a formidable foe and quickly made haste to flee the scene. Kill them, Lucas! You turn into the mom from Friday the 13th. Do it! Sheen and the others looked on as the royals and his soldiers left. Oh, I'm being held by this guy right now. And I was holding a head in my arms, according to previous thing. Man, her face is so pretty. I'm curious, because this game likes you to be immersed into the world, or you can make it your name. You also have a choice where you don't see her, so I don't know if that changes pictures. On Sheen's arms. Why? Why is this happening? Lee was holding Adolphe's head and repeating the same words over and over again in a trembling voice. Sheen was quickly looking at her without any expression. Soon after, Barrow quietly took his leave. Sheen and the others stood in the orphanage, dominated by the smell of blood. This wasn't a dream. The lives that were taken would not return, not even through the miracle of God. Chapter 4. I just realized in his little thing he's drinking the stuff that's on his hip.
痛みがひどい。呼吸ができない。
The pain to serve, I cannot breathe.
ああ、自分は
I know that.
もうすぐ死ぬのか。悲願を叶えられぬまま。
I'm going to die here without even fulfilling my wish.
苦しい。あなたのことだけが心残りだ。
Suffering. I'm so worried about you.
会いたいよ。母上。
I want to see you, mother. The cleanup at the Institute went much faster than
ダハトさ
expected.
ん、爆弾によって破壊された扉の修繕が完了しました。
The doors that have been broken from the explosion have been fixed.
うわ、ありがとうございます。ちなみに廊下に開いた大穴はどうです？地下まで貫通していたみたいですけど。
I don't want to be energetic with his voice because I feel like he's a big phony and a fake. Don't show me Dahat. I don't want him to be like, oh, great. Like, that's the attitude. And I've been conveying that this whole time is his attitude in the voices. And I don't want to. Thank you so much. So how about the gaping hole in the hallway? Seems like it goes
そ
pretty
こは工事の
deep.
予定を入れておきました。今は立ち入り禁止
I
にして
know.
閉鎖しています。
Like, what side's real, what
Sudo
side's fake? And definitely this is the fake side. You're pretending to be bubbly. You're pretending to be nice. We've construction scheduled for that. The area is currently off limits, but there are other routes that we can
それと、
use.
幸い
Get it?
研究設備は爆発に巻き込まれなかったので、研究は問題なく続けられるかと思います。
It also seems our devices and the lab itself weren't damaged by the explosion, so we can continue our research without no issues.
そう。ならよかったです。まあ、シアンさんなら、そこに被害を与えることはないだろうと思ってましたけど。
That's great news. Then again, I doubt Sheen would have put them at risk anyways.
ああ、そうそう。シアンさんがしていた研究なんですけど、資料をすべて僕に回してくれませんか？
Oh, yeah. Before I forget, can you bring me all the papers Sheen was working on?
え？はい。でも、ダハトさんの研究には必要ないんじゃ。
Huh? Yeah, but they don't have anything to do with the research, your research, right, Dahat?
何言ってるんですか？所長として元研究員の仕事をチェックするのは当然のことですよ。
Come now. As director, I need to review all work, even those done by former
今は
researchers.
必要ないかもですけど、僕たちの研究に活用できるかもしれません。
I may not need them now, but it's possible we'll find something useful for our own work. Can't let research go to waste, you know?
確かにその通りですね。すぐに回しますので、少々お待ちください。
You're absolutely right. I'll go get them to you right now. The researcher quickly left with sparkling eyes, moved by Dahat's cleverness. Dahat had been the new director of the institute and was now being looked up to by the researchers working there. At the same time, there were others with their own motives for working with him.
新所長殿、調子はどうですかな？
How are these things, my dear new director? A royal family member appeared with the royal guard. He smiled the moment he saw Dahat.
ああ、どうも。王族の方にお越しいただけるなんて光栄です。今日はご視察でしょうか？
Oh, hello. It's an honor to have the royal family pay us a visit. Are you here for an inspection?
まあ、そのようなものだな。
I suppose you could call it that.
あ、先日はご兄弟の命を救えなくて申し訳ございませんでした。
Very sorry I was unable to save your brother after I literally killed him. His Highness, my deepest condolences.
ああ、それなら気にすることはない。シアンを消す手伝いができたのだから、あいつだって本望だろう。
No, he didn't want to die. Don't worry. Don't worry about that anymore. I'm sure he'd be happy to know he helped get rid of Sheen.
そうですか。
I see.
つまり、あの王族の命が失われるのは予定通り。国内放送といい、新聞といい、随分と用意周到だな。
Maybe it wasn't Dahat that did that. Or is this another red herring? Is his internal monologues wrong? Have they tricked me so well? I'm confused. This music is really loud in my ears. Which means his death was planned. Their immediate announcement and the newspaper extras make sense now.
新聞に書かれていたおぞましい怪物も、シアンさんが作ったものじゃないのに。
The hideous monster they mentioned wasn't one of Sheen's creations, but he somehow made it Sheen's fault. The entire scheme must have been approved by the king, Bennett Revere. the royal family don't suffer in the salvation ending. I mean, again, if we can think about in time, and in time, you don't age after a certain age. I don't know if it's 23. It could be. But then you have time on your wrist, and that is what you use as currency. So if you have it, you're great, but you're using it as you're living. Just living costs money. And they give you 25 years, and everything costs money, and all that money is time. So there's a lot going on in this game. But in that game, or in that movie, at the end of it, the guy who, he said he was feeling old finally because he was in his 80s, but he looks like 20 something. So maybe if we fix this universe, this city, this curse, they'll die from old age because there's some of the older people. That does mean Sheen has to die. I just kicked my table again. But some sacrifices must be made in order to continue. I mean, Lucas also has to die. We'll see. I'm hoping there's a bunch of different endings. Ones where people are smiling at the end of it. The Hot was strangely impressed that he came up with such a plan despite being so stupid. Such a plan.
ところで、新所長殿
Oh.
はどういう研究方針なのですかな?
He said he, I thought he was referring to himself. Now then, may I ask what the new director has planned for his faculty? Facility?
それはもちろん、前々からご説明していた通り、感情のメモリーに尽力できればと。
Huh, why, of course. I believe I've mentioned my plan to focus on emotions and expanding memory.
僕たちは命の入れ物を作りたいのではなくて、ちゃんとした人間を作りたいので。
This is the part where the Hot might find out his life isn't going to be the life he wants. We want to create not a simple vessel that holds life, but rather a true human. The man took a deep breath. The Hot's expression expected him to say something along the lines of making stronger bodies or fighting the curse instead of wasting resources, but
素晴らしい。ぜひとも完成させていただきたい。
I also was expecting the same thing, the Hot. I'm really surprised. The man unexpectedly gave his full support to the Hot and
我々王族もシアンが所長だった時以上に援助をすると約束しましょう。
the royal family will promise you greater support than when Sheen was the
も
director.
ちろん我々にも見返りをくれるととても嬉しいのだが。
Of course, we'd absolutely be delighted if you would return the favor.
どうも。
Absolutely. The Hot forced a smile on his face as a certain thought crossed his mind.
完全に僕に取り入ろうとしているよね。
This guy's already second up to me.
シアンさんの時はここまで露骨じゃなかったのに。
He wasn't this obvious when Sheen was here.
舐められてるのかな。まあ、見た目も若いし、僕もこういう性格だから、そう思われても仕方ないか。
Maybe he underestimates me. Well, I guess that can't be helped since I look young and my personality doesn't help.
あ、でも一言だけ言っておかなきゃ。
I better say this to him now.
それはそうと、養護施設の一つを見せしめに潰したと聞きましたが、それは本当ですか?
By the way, I heard one of the orphanages were attacked as a warning to the public. Is that true?
ああ、シアンに協力した一派のことか。それだったらほとんど粛清したはずだ。
You mean the one that was supporting Sheen? I believe that place was purged.
肝心のシアンたちには逃げられてしまったが、奴らが捕まるのも時間の問題だろう。
Sheen and a few of the
新社長
others.
殿が気にかける必要はない。
No, did I finish? No, there's a little bit. I'm sad now. My coffee's gone. Sheen and a few others made their escape, but it shouldn't take long to arrest them. You need not worry, good
そうで
director.
すか。
I see.
国民を殺したことに、何の罪悪感も抱いていないんだ。
So he doesn't feel bad about civilians being killed. What a lowlife. A grave sin had been committed that dragged Leah and others into their turmoil.
今さら後には引けないよね。
Not like I can do anything about it now.
それに、きっとシアンさんなら、
And I bet Sheen would. The Hot firmly clenched his fist. Out of sight of the royal family. He simply needed to finish what had been put into motion until the very end. Now, there's a chance all his supporters did this on their own, but they mentioned the hair, man. An old abandoned house located on the outskirts of the country. I couldn't seem to recall clearly why I was here.
シアンさん、容体はどうだ？結構出血してたみたいだが。
Sheen, how do you feel? You've been bleeding pretty bad.
今は問題ない。下手に動けば傷口が開くだろうが。
I'm fine now. Of course, my wounds can still open. At the far end of the room was a large bed, and on it was Sheen, covered with bruises and wounds. I remembered he lost consciousness the moment we got here after taking a horrible beating from Barrow and carrying your ass probably to the car. He somehow survived, but it took a few hours for him to be able to talk like that again. As for the one who inflicted those wounds, Barrow hadn't shown himself ever since. It's been an hour. Where's that Claude family duo? Wink, wink, wink. I don't see them around.
屋敷に返しました。あそこなら潜伏もできるでしょうし、食料も潤沢にあるみたいなので。
They went back to the mansion. It seems they'll be able to hide with enough provisions to last a week.
一応通信機も持たせてあるので、逐一連絡するようにはします。
I gave them a transmitter, so we're going to keep in touch when
生き
possible.
残った自警団とも連絡だけは取り合うことにしてる。潜伏するにしても情報は欲しいからな。
We're also in contact with the corpse members who survived. We still need information even while they're in hiding.
そうか。
I see. That conversation over. A heavy silence filled the air. Everyone was looking at me and Mother. As for Mother, she was looking at the person she took from my arms and now cradled in hers. You brought his head with you? Adolf.
嘘よ。あの子が死んだなんて嘘よ。
She's not wearing the top part of her hat anymore. But he wasn't a person anymore. It was Adolf's head. Evidence of a tragedy that his family could no longer pretend was merely a nightmare. Mother and I, we were unable to move or even a muscle.
本当に死んでしまったんだね。
But if we curse the head, then she could be like Lollipop Chainsaw and just have his head on her hip, right? He really is dead. Yeah.
もう彼と手合わせもできない。
Can't train with him anymore. Hugo quietly patted Eves on the shoulder as he looked down at the floor. Everyone apart from Sheen was unable to accept the sudden departure of someone they knew too well. Hello, how are you? It wasn't only Adolf who passed away, it was in a way that we didn't expect. I couldn't make their graves. The children, I left them all back at the orphanage. I couldn't even give them a single prayer. They're supposed to be my family. You came at the best time. Look at this conversation. Leah. Man. I recalled everything the moment I closed my eyes. The children lying dead everywhere and the members of the corpse who tried to protect them. The pungent smell of blood and Adolph's body forced down to the floor. Adolph's head rolling to my feet upon his decapitation. So why? Why can't I shed even a single tear? My eyes were completely dry and I hadn't been blinking much as I gazed into the air. I felt nothing. Why? Was it because I was so used to spreading misfortune and seeing death? I don't want to be strong like this. I don't want my strength, so God, please return Adolf and the others to me. I was able to cry with Mother even when my dear foster brother and the rest of my family died. I was such a cold person. Stop it already. I raised my head a bit, hearing his firm voice. I looked at the bed to discover Sheen with his back straight up, looking down at us, slumped in our seats.
泣き言を言う前にそいつの首を埋めてやった方がいいと思うがな。
Listen, this head is mine, okay? I've always wanted a skull in my collection. I just can't afford them. They're expensive. So I'm going to research how to turn this into just what it is, the base. If you have time to feel sorry, you should hurry and give that head a proper burial.
そのままだと腐るぞ。
He's gonna rot at this rate. Mother and I looked at her hands upon hearing his calm voice. Look, her hair's down. She's got such long, beautiful hair. Adolphe was looking up at her with the same hollow eyes as earlier. Perhaps the others couldn't bear seeing him like this any longer. Just carrying a head around.
そうだね。そうしてあげよ
He's right. We should do as he says.
う。シスター、辛いでしょうが。
I know it's tough, sister, but
嫌よ。
no. Hugo reached out to Mother, but she embraced Adolphe's head as if to protect him.
アドルフはまだ死んでなんかいない。脳さえあれば、まだリライバーとして生き返れるかもしれないじゃない。
Adolphe isn't dead yet. He can revive as a reliver as if we have his brain.
この子は私の大切な子よ。施設から唯一連れ出してあげられたのに、また殺すなんて。
He's my dear, precious child. I cannot bear to kill the only one we could save from the orphanage. Oh man, in denial. This is extra denial. We didn't save him.
こんなところにアドルフを埋めるなんてかわいそうよ。この子が一人ぼっちになってしまう。
Don't you know how lonely Adolphe will be if we bury him in a place like this? He's going to be all alone.
だから、いや、絶対に嫌よ。
So no, I'm not letting him go.
お前も知っているだろう。一度失われてしまった命は戻らない。バックアップがなければ無理だ。
You already know once a life is lost, it can never return. It is impossible without a backup.
でも、アドルフは。
Adolphe. Adolphe is still...
シスター・サロメ、まだ綺麗な状態を保っている今、供養してあげてください。
You remember him as a headless... I'm sorry, as a bodiless head? I understand what you're saying. You're like the rotting part, but like he definitely do not look like himself right now. Sister Salome, please give him a proper burial while he's still the way we remember him.
俺たちだって、友人が見るに耐えない姿になっていくところは、
They really are against me owning a skull in this game. We don't want to see our friend turn into any unbearable state. Ease! She held tight to the head, but without any real strength. Eves gently reached out to Adolphe to set him free from Mother's arms. Mother screamed to have him back, but upon looking into Adolphe's eyes... I'm so upset. I know. This is... She fell on the floor in tears. Mother. I'm so sorry, Mother. I embraced her from behind and apologized repeatedly. It's my fault. This happened because I involved Adolphe and everyone else at the orphanage. My selfish apology didn't reach anyone. It didn't matter whether death was spreading misfortune. Who spreads misfortune repents for her crimes. Those lives that had been lost would never, ever return. God, the amount of depression in this little room. A few hours later, as Eves and the others buried Adolphe in the garden. A burial without a tombstone. We couldn't even give him a proper burial since the tombstone might give away our location. You can give him a tombstone later. Relax. I just hope I could take him back to the orphanage someday.
それじゃあ、俺たちは隣の部屋で休んでいるから、何かあったらすぐに呼んで。
We'll take a rest in the other room. Call us if you need anything. Okay. Mother fell unconscious after crying and screaming and was taken to another room to rest. Eves and the other headed to each of their own rooms, tired and burned out. Sheen must also have reached his limits as he fell asleep again on the bed next to me. Next to me? Considering our situation, we should really discuss our next course of action, but no one in the house had the strength of the spirit left in them to do so. That applied to me as well. Without the strength to even move, I simply slouched in the corner of the room alone. On the floor were fresh blood stains. I assumed they were from the blood that dripped from Adolph's neck. It's my fault. I killed Adolph. If only I didn't suggest that we look after Sheen. It's all my fault. I kept repeating the same words. Internally, right? Because I don't know. I can't think. What should I have done? My eyes were still dry, preventing me from shedding even one single tear. That's good, because if you go to bed after you cry, like, it's so hard to breathe. Just me? I wasn't sure how many hours had passed. It seemed I fell asleep. I quickly awoke when I heard a sound coming from nearby. I looked around from where I was sitting on the floor. Sheen was groaning in pain on the bed. The dim light from the room showed him gritting his teeth with sweat rolling down his forehead. Sheen? I slowly stood and looked at Sheen's face. He looks like he's in pain. I want to help him. I hated how I could come to this thought despite everything that happened. After all, if I didn't have this desire to stay by Sheen's side, girl, calm down. Adolph and everyone might have not have died. It would be so much simpler if I could just curse him for what happened. If only I could hate him for dragging me into this mess. But Sheen, are you alright? No matter what, I couldn't leave this person with his straightforward eyes. Before I knew it, I was gently wiping Sheen's forehead with my handkerchief. His eyelid twitched, then slowly opened. It's the royal family's fault. Yeah. I think we had this conversation last time where I said, you're not at fault if, like, someone leaves their house late. You know what I mean? Like, you're not at fault for an accident that's outside of your control. You did not cause the accident. It's you. Sheen turned his head to my direction, struggling to fix his eyes upon me. His vivid reliver eyes showed a reflection of golden hair in his different colors. Your wounds might be swollen. If you don't mind, let me take a look. Let me look at your body. Sheen lifted himself in my care without putting up a fight. Left himself in my care. I wonder if he was worried that I might harm him out of resentment. Then again, I didn't have the strength to feel such a powerful emotion right now. I removed the sheets from his clothes, thinking his hairpin might get in the way. I removed that too. As expected, the bandage wrapped around his abdomens were wet with blood. I'm gonna remove the bandages so that... Huh? Hey, he's shirtless, but he doesn't have any nipples, which I find extremely strange. I tried to deny what I was seeing. What am I seeing? Or his wounds healing? What am I seeing? I expected his wounds from the fight against Barrow to be bad. But what stood out more were those wounds were the scars all over his body. Judging by the color of his skin around those scars, I assumed they were inflicted a long time ago. Oh, scars. Okay. I'm just like, I don't get it. I thought this is all fresh. About these. You think they're horrible? Sheen must have noticed my confusion as he chuckled cynically. I didn't get these from anyone. I wounded myself out of necessity. What do you mean? It was needed in order to create a new reliver. I had the majority of the required data from my test on the criminals, so I used my own body to see how I would fare.
だが今回は失敗だった。肺の強化をした結果、致命的な欠陥を抱えてしまった。
The result was a failure. I was able to strengthen my lungs, but it came with a serious defect on his body, which meant I'd keep knocking into the table. My bad.
どこのバカがあのデータを買って。
どういうことだ。
どうも何も言葉通りだ。研究所の誰かが、あれは試作段階の上、副作用がある。
Don't tell me the side effects you were talking about back then. He nodded to confirm my suspicions as I put new bandages on his body.
俺が今使っているのは、
Look, he's
肺
got
機能を強
a
化し、
bandage
呪い
now.
の症状を通常より表面化しにくくしているものだ。
The body I'm using has modified lungs, which helps suppress the effects of the curse and keeps symptoms from surfacing.
だが、呼吸のたびに負担がかかり、かなりの激痛を伴う。それこそ軟弱な王族では耐えきれんほどの。
But every breath is a struggle that causes significant pain. It's more than those feeble royals can
俺が
endure.
常に平静を保っているのは、薬や手術で副作用を抑え込んでいたからだ。
I can maintain my strength through drugs and performing operations on myself.
だからこそ、自分以外には使われないよう隠匿していたんだが。
Which is the very reason I kept the data a secret so that others couldn't access
ど
it.
こかのバカに見つかって、このざまだ。
But some idiot found it, and here we are now. So if that happened, but why did you try it on yourself? Your experiments are painful, so why didn't you test the criminals instead? I knew saying so was morally unpugnant. Well, haha, look at you now, Green. But my question was based on efficiency.
確かにそうするのが合理的なのだろ
That would be reasonable. Look, he's still doing it. He's still turning around for us.
う。だが人を生かすという目標は、俺が掲げたものだ。
My
ならば払うべ
objective
き代償は
is to
俺自身
preserve
が真っ
human
先に
life.
払うべきだろ
If so, I should be the first person to pay the price.
う。すべては俺のエゴなのだから。
Everything I do is out of egotism. He was right. He was working to create relievers that could fight the curse of death. Sheen wasn't simply forcing others to sacrifice themselves. Scien Brofiise. He was experimenting on his own body to develop relievers with stronger lungs to suppress the effects of the curse. This has resulted in severe pain, coupled with difficulty in breathing, which has suppresses the strong mental fortitude, medicine, and performance operating on himself.
まあ、今まさに無関係な死を生み出した身で、偉そうに言えることではないが。
In any case, I am not a noble man given the meaningless death I've caused. My thoughts froze when I heard the words he said. He might be referring to Adolphe and the children. Suddenly, I felt emotion starting to flow from deep inside, along with a sense of sorrow that made me want to vomit. But my lips were shut so tight that I couldn't.
恨み事を言わないのか？俺に関わりさえしなければ、お前の家族が処刑されることもなかっただろうに。
Not expressing your grudge against me. Your family wouldn't have died if it weren't for your connection to me. But I don't know.
はあ？
Sheen, you said it yourself. I was the one who wanted to stay by your side. If that resulted in what happened, that it means I was the one who killed Adolphe and the others. I thought I could always stand beside Sheen's strength and determination to fight the curse. I thought that would make me forget that I caused misfortune as death, which is why I don't have the right to hold a grudge against you, Sheen.
Yamero.
Stop. Oh. He suddenly pulled me by the arm. I was enveloped in the heat of his body from his fever. From above, I heard the voice of God who didn't bend even against death.
結果を変えられないことで、あれこれ責任を問うのは非生産
Yeah,
的
this
だ。
is a good CG. Finally, they stopped
それ
being
より
selfish and putting her in the
今
CGs
後のことを
too.
考えろ。
It's pointless to spend all your energy ruminating on what cannot be changed. Think of your priorities. Priorities. I understood very well what he didn't say. These calm words I understood very well he didn't say these calm words out of kindness. So why? I don't know what you're saying, but what am I going to do? Why did I want to hear his answer so much?
決まっている。研究所の奪還だ。
Isn't it obvious? We need to take back the institute.
俺は人類を救うための研究をやめるつもりはない。それに、売られた喧嘩は買う主義だ。
I have no intention of quitting my research to save humanity. I'm always ready for a fight.
何より、そろそろ体を乗り換えないと寿命がまずい。今死ぬわけにはいかないからな。
Firstly, I need to change my body since my current one won't last much longer. I can't die right now. Sheen sounded like he was in pain, but he still spoke with conviction. I knew it. He didn't even hint at trying to seek vengeance, but I wasn't the only one who lost everything. Why? Why are you putting in so much effort and trying so hard? This country betrayed you. The people you were trying to save denounced you and are trying to blame you for everything. Haven't you done enough? I'm sure Dahat will take over the Reliver research, so please, you don't have to put up a fight anymore, Sheen. I didn't want someone like him taken away from me. That was my earnest plea,
い
but
や、ある。
no, I have to. His firm voice denied me my wish. Sheen,
研究を打ち切るということは、すなわち人を救う権利を放棄することだ。
abandoning my research means giving up on my to save the people. Right. That was the best one. That's the winner.
世界を俯瞰する者としての責務を果たさないまま、
I can't run away from my
逃げるわけにはい
responsibilities
かない。
as a man who is able to observe this
そ
world.
れに、
And if I give
諦
up,
め、いつか来るお前の死に対して、何の対策もできなくなる。
it also means I will be unable to fight your inevitable death one day. I can't let that happen. Huh? I raised my head a bit. Sheen was looking straight at me with an expression devoid of any
俺
emotion.
は、お前を独占したいと思う程度には気に入っている。あくまで、雑用係としてだがな。
I like you to the extent that I want to keep you as my own, of course, to take care of the daily chores. You know.
だが、今のお前は気に食わん。
But I don't like how you are now.
いつものように、うじうじとした情けない姿を俺に見せてみろ。
Show me the pathetic, worrisome side of you that I'm used to. The moment I heard his words, the tears I couldn't shed began flowing from my eyes. Why am I hurriedly dried my tears that were coming out against my will, but I couldn't make them stop. What was I supposed to do, especially since I didn't have the right to cry? Please don't look at me. He took my words in an opposite way and pressed my face against his
泣きた
shoulder.
ければ泣け。それくらい受け止めてやる。
Cry as much as you want. I can at least do that much for you. Okay, I restarted the program. It said it was syncing something, so that might have been what caused it. Because when I restarted it and started trying to go live for a minute, it said that it was syncing stuff. So maybe things. Thank you for welcoming me back. I'm so sorry. Yeah, thank you for letting me know. I can see it. It's a very small, teeny tiny notification at the bottom of the screen. I need to open OBS Studios again and see what I did with it. It's scary for me. OBS looks intimidating because there's so many different buttons on it. And this is really, it's literally streamlined for Streamlabs, but it has been crashing here and there. I did restart my computer this morning before I went live, just hoping that it would prevent that, but apparently I didn't do enough. Alrighty. Well, thank you again for letting me know it was doing it. That way I could catch it right away, so hopefully it won't do it again. We will see how it goes, because this is the second day in the row where it's done that. Alrighty. Just in case, I'm going to go back a few just so we're on the right spot. It's going to be right here. I knew I shouldn't, but the tears didn't stop. As I froze, my heart began to thaw. My tears flowed and his wet, fresh bandages. All I could do now was cry. It was noon the next day when we were able to discuss our next course of action in earnest. Ise and Hugo had returned from their patrol around the surrounding areas. The injured Sheen was still on the bed, and the others took a seat nearby. The expression on everyone's face was glum, and it would be difficult to have a constructive conversation. Sheen started the conversation by bringing up something positive.
研究所の奪還ですか?
Taking back the Institute. I don't know what they have against nipples in this. Just saying.
あまり現実的じゃねえな。この人数で攻め込むのはちと無謀すぎる。
Doesn't sound very realistic to me. We don't really have the manpower to storm that place.
それは承知の上で策を練ると言っている。
I understand that, which is why I said we should come up with a plan. I wasn't sure what everyone would say. Mother was participating, but she didn't say a word. Her face was pale, and she stared at the floor with hollow eyes. Sheen let out a sigh, seeing how heavy the atmosphere in the room was.
すぐに答えを出せとは言わない。とりあえず外の状況はどうなっている?
I'm not sure we should set a plan now. How are things outside so far?
完全に俺たちは指名手配扱いだな。特にあんたはこの国を呪う死神扱いって感じだ。
We're all enemies of the public, especially you being death and all.
民衆たちがまだ懐疑的だったら救いの手があったかもしれないけど、あなたを信じてくれる人はいないと思います。
Dang, I'm surprised given how little do people care about the royal family. We would have more options if the people had their doubts, but I don't think there's anyone who believes you right now.
そうか。
I see.
何にせよ、シアンさんが動けるようになるまでは、マティスや自警団から情報収集をしておきます。
In any case, we'll have Mathis and the corpse continue gathering information until you recovered, Sheen.
それと、研究所奪還を検討するためにも、内部構造や詳細を教えてもらえると助かります。
Of course, it'd help if you could tell us everything about the Institute so that we can offer suggestions and regaining control.
それぐらいかまあ。俺は俺で奪還のための策を練っておく。
Not a problem. I'll devise a plan on my own and...
それを聞いても納得できないようだったら、改めて反対意見を聞こう。
If you don't like what I come up with, you can lay out your reasonings.
言われなくともそのつもりだ。こっちは命がかかっているんだからな。
Yeah, we'll do that for sure. After all, our lives are at stake here. For real. We were being chased and we didn't have much freedom, but Sheen hadn't lost his will to fight. But with the conversation over, Sheen's body quickly went limp. His wounds must still be painful. His breathing's also painful. Please don't push yourself. Why don't you get some rest now?
わかった。少しの間休ませてもらう。
I'll do that. I'll get some sleep while I still can. Sheen lay down on the bed without objecting. In just a few seconds, he was fast asleep.
シアンさん、辛そうだね。
Looks like Sheen's in bad shape. Yeah, he's been pushing himself quite a bit.
まあ、あれだけの重傷で生きているだけでも奇跡みたいなもんだよな。
It's not short of a miracle that he survived with those wounds. Salome says nothing. Not a word from Mama. Another silence filled the room. Do you mind if I ask you something? Not wanting to waste even a second, I somehow mustered the strength to speak up. About Sheen's idea of wanting to take back the Institute, what are your thoughts?
俺は正直に言うと巻き込まれたくない。アドルフの仇は討ちたいとは思うが、敵があまりにも強大すぎる。
I honestly don't want to get dragged into his mess anymore. I do want to avenge Adolf, but the target's too
言い
powerful.
方は悪いが、シアンさんが亡くなったら、こっちは投降することだってできるわけだ。そうすりゃ手配だって解除できる。
I know this sounds bad, but we have the option to give ourselves up if Sheen dies. That would lift the bounty on our head.
でもそううまくいくかな。
Doubt that would work.
だってシスターサロメの施設は君やアドルフが所属していたってだけであんなことになってしまった。
I mean, you saw what happened to Sister Salome's orphanage just because it was Leah's and Adolph's home.
一度でもシアンさんの味方をした俺たちがそう簡単に見逃されるとは思えない。
I doubt they'd let us go since we already sided with Sheen. In that case, I want to keep fighting. Eves, you want to take back the
そう
Institute?
だね。だってシアンさんは冤罪なんだろう。このまま全ての罪を背負わされて殺されるのはいくらなんでもひどすぎるよ。
Hang on, I'm sorry. I'm sending a text message to my sister about the concert tickets, just so she knows. Sheen's innocent, right? It'll be awful to see him being executed for crimes he didn't commit.
それにリライバーの研究だって彼がいてこそ進んでいるんじゃないか。
Reliver research is about to advance because of him, so I doubt he's too
イ
expandable.
ブの言い分にも一理あるか。
Guess you have a point, Eves. Eves was willing to talk and listen to Barrow, but even he couldn't endure the crimes of the royal family, which meant the rest is we then turned our attention to Mother. It seemed like she heard what we said as she slowly looked up after noticing what we were looking at.
Okay.
We're looking at
潰すべきよ。
her. She sounds like you, Asia. The royal family should be killed. Thank you, Mother. Oh my god. Best line right here. She mumbled to herself. Huh?
研究所を取り戻したところで、あの王族たちが生きている限り、何度でも同じことが繰り返されるわ。
Even if the Institute is taken back, the same will continue to happen if the royal family is still alive.
本当に奪還したいというのなら、奴らを皆殺しにするしかない。
If we really want to take back the place, we will need to kill them all. She said it so very calm. She said it in very calm voice, but cold sweat rolled down our backs at the intense pressure we felt from her.
まあ、その意見はもっともですけど。
I suppose you're right.
でもそれはいくらなんでもアドルフたちの無念は俺だって晴らしたいですけど、さすがにやりすぎなんじゃ。
It's a tall order, but whew, we get Barrow on our side, we'll be fine. Bro can help. Bro can murder things. But that's, I know we want to avenge Adolf and the others, but that's a tall order.
我が子が殺されたっていうのに、黙って指を加えていろというの。
My only note here is that children. It should be my children were killed, not my child was killed, because she had more than one. Yes, Adolf is dead, but they killed all of them. They all died. You're telling me to sit here quietly after my child was
あな
killed?
たたちは王族がどれだけ下船なのか知らないから、そんな悠長なことが言えるのよ。
You're only able to say that because you don't know how horrible and lowly the royal family is.
幸せだった私に、あいつらが何をしたのか。
I was happy, but then Mother looked worse with each word she muttered. She began to speak faster and faster until
あいつらは私の子供、家族を殺したのよ。それに自分たちの利益のために国を。
that is not ... Those were words.
シスターサロメ、どうしたんですか？
So Salome, what's wrong? Are you okay? Something was definitely wrong as we couldn't hear a word she was saying now. We looked on in confusion, unable to get through to her when...
何をしている?
What are you doing? Sheen woke up from his sleep from all of the commotion. Sheen, something's terribly wrong with Mother. Hearing my plea for help, Sheen squinted his eyes and looked at Mother.
ああ。リライバーによくある症状だ。興奮しすぎるとメモリーの処理が間に合わなくなることがある。
Ah, it's a common issue with relivers. The memory is unable to fully process data due to extreme excitement or tension.
何か対処法はあるんですか?
Is there a way to bring her back?
とにかく落ち着かせるしかない。ベッドにでも寝かせてやれ。
She just needs to calm down. Let her rest in bed or something.
わかった。彼女のそばについてやってくれ。
Got it. Leah, stay with her. Okay. Yves and Hugo briskly lifted Mother and carried her away to another room. Some time had passed. Mother, how do you feel? I slowly peeked inside after giving her some time to rest.
さっきはごめんなさいね。変な取り乱し方をしてしまって。
I'm sorry about earlier. I felt so distraught. Thank goodness it's our usual Mother. I let out a sigh of relief and walked over to her side with an old tea set on the serving plate. Mother, are you thirsty? Here, please drink this. He's found some wild tea leaves outside that we could
あ
brew.
りがとう。本当なら私がしっかりしなきゃいけないのに。
Thank you.
情けないわね。
I should be the one supporting everyone. I'm pathetic. Please don't say that. Anyone would feel that way, the way you did after experiencing what happened. She went quiet again. I bet no matter how much time passed, she would never be able to talk calmly about the tragedy at the
どう
orphanage.
してこんなことになったのかしら。
Why did this happen? Well, I couldn't respond to her question. Mother probably heard on the way here what happened at the Institute when we were attacked, but I need to tell her what happened myself. After all, it's my responsibility. Let me explain.
そういうことが言いたいわけじゃないの。
Oh, that's not what I was trying to say. Huh?
ずっと一緒にいるんだもの。あなたたちが私に隠れてシアンの味方をしていたことくらい気づいていたわ。
I've known you for a long time. I knew you were hiding the fact that you were helping Sheen. I would love it if they let us kill the royal family. Come on, Atomi Games. I need y'all willing to kill bad people in these games. Now they're just giving all the bad people redemption arcs. That's what they're doing. I mean, the royals don't have faces. Which again is one of my pet peeves. Like, you're gonna make a bad guy and not animate them just a little. Just give me something to look at so I have a face for the enemy.
それにアドルフ自身がそれらしいことを言っていたしね。
Adolf himself said something along those lines. Mother, I could feel her love and compassion from the words she spoke to me without blame, as well as the great deal of regret. I'm very sorry if I hadn't acted so
だ
mindlessly.
から謝らなくていいのよ。相談してくれなかったのはお母さんとしては寂しかったけれど。
My computer just like right-clicked and I wasn't even touching my mouse. Now you don't need to apologize. I must admit I was sad that you didn't discuss it with me, your mother, but...
そうじゃなくてね。今回のことは私への天罰なんじゃないかって思えたのよ。
That's not the point. The point is, I believe what's happening is my divine punishment. Oh, I'm moving too far out of frame. Sorry. Divine punishment. That was the complete opposite of what Mother deserved. But you're the one who raised us when no one else was willing to take us in. There's no way a kind person like you deserves to be punished, Mother. Mother smiled
私は
sadly.
ね、慈善事業として施設を経営していたわけじゃないの。
I'm gonna assume that's how she pays to be for a liver, but that's just me thing. I wasn't managing the orphanage purely out of goodwill.
この国の未来を担う優秀な子供を選別していただけよ。
Oh, I was selecting talented children who could lead this country to a better future. Selecting? What do you mean? For what purpose?
私とシアンが前々から知り合いだったのは知っているでしょ。
You're aware that I've known Sheen for a long time.
それは 才能のありそうな子を施設で育てて、彼のもとに研究員の卵として引き渡していたからなの。そういう意味で私は彼の支援者だったのよ。
Okay. Hold up. Wait a minute. I was raising talented children and sending them to the institute to become researchers. I suppose in that sense I was supporting him. I would have loved this if they had made Dahat one of her kids. Because then it would have not made this such a... Do it twice? I don't want to restart. I don't want to try to use OBS right now. I'm scared of it. I wanted to test OBS before I did it. Let me close all the windows on my phone. Maybe I should turn my phone off. Is my phone causing the problem? Probably not, because my phone barely uses internet, especially when I'm not using it. Sorry. I apologize. I'm just double checking how my stream's looking right now. I'm back now? Okay, cool. Yeah, it says my last video was 18 minutes. I restarted the program this time, and last time when I restarted the program, it was fine. That probably just means that the restart didn't fix it last time and something else just happened. It could be my internet's having issues. It's not hot right now. We haven't had a brownout in a while, so I'm not sure. Alrighty. But we were just talking about how that would make sense if Dahat was from the house, because then there would be some link to that. Like, don't tell me something and not show me something that supports that claim. Because, like, she could have said something like, oh, I'm sending this letter. I bet it's to blah, 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 who recently went to the institute. She never knew who was at the institute. So this just feels like a real sudden reach, and I don't like that. It needs to have something kind of laced into the story, because if she had said she thought she was delivering letters to a friend that was from the orphanage for Salome, I'd get it. Never happened. So yeah, that's weird. I never knew. Exactly. And you had no hints. It must have been a secret that she hadn't disclosed to Adolf. But what's so bad about that? You were raising the children to become the future of this country.
それだけじゃないわ。
That's not all.
あなたを施設に引き取ったのは、その体質を利用するためだったのよ。
I took you into the orphanage because of your abilities. You mean...
あなたが起こすと言われている不幸。この国にまとわりついている死の呪いに酷似しているでしょ。
This misfortune you supposedly caused sounded very similar to the curse of death that affected this
だから
country.
私、あなたが本当にこの国を呪う死神の生まれ変わりか、関係者の血筋なんじゃないかと思っていたの。
Which is why I thought you were death reborn to curse this land, or perhaps someone related to the curse. Which still could be true. I think she might be related to the person who left all the books.
アドルフもあなたほど目立った体質ではないけど、普通の
You
人よ
remember
り
how Adolf
呪
didn't
いの
exhibit
進行が遅かった
any
でしょ。
symptoms of the curse even at his age? Now that you mention it, Adolf was so strong and healthy, I sometimes forgot he was 21.
観察結果次第では、いつでもあなたたちをシアンに渡すつもりでいたわ。
Depending on how things progressed, I planned on sending the two of you to Sheen.
すべては国の呪いを解くため、国の礎とするために。
All for the sake of lifting the curse, sacrifices for this country. Adolf and I were actually destined to end up being tested inhumanely like those criminals. And this was going to happen through the mother who raised and guided us. Noticing my expression, Mother continued to speak sadly.
昔の私だったら、犠牲を前提とした研究なんて絶対に協力しなかったわ。生きるためだとしても、品性だけは売り渡したくないもの。
The old me would have never supported research requiring sacrifices. I couldn't have traded my integrity for that purpose.
だけど、それ以上に、 王家に対する焦りがあって。
But beyond that was my frustration towards the royal family. She said that there was a reason she wanted to lift a curse of death so badly. She slowly began to explain. Are we going to find out who your brother is? The white light. Oh my goodness. I became a reliver around 60 years ago, meaning I'm about 83. Through the use of technology Sheen developed when I was 21. Oh, she's 81. Just kidding. Back then, I lived in harmony with my child who was left behind after my kind husband passed away from the illness. I was bothered by the curse that encroached upon the country and the ethos of its citizens. It's kind of funny that Sheen is bad, but Mother, y'all both use sacrifices. Mother is